analyze this budget report and tell me what questions we should expect on our call.
Todd's $12,000 steakhouse dinner?
Dear Mom, this Mother's Day, I wanted to find a gift that's as special as you are. You're incredibly thoughtful with a heart of gold. You're never afraid to go bold, and you always taught me to cherish every moment. Thank you for being you. Happy Mother's Day.
I am very consistent with my views. Like, you go to my channel and I'm like batting the same number all the time. Like, I'm doing base hits all day. I don't hit it out of the park, but I do base hits all day and I'm getting home runs. And that's kind of my strength, is I'm very consistent. I have a lot of return viewers. I build a lot of community and loyalty. I'm very big on building that. But I don't necessarily, and there's certain things. I even had a conversation with one of my friend YouTubers last week, and she said, you could do some stuff to like agitate things more and you get more views. And I'm like, yeah, but that's so counter to me. Because what I used to do in the factory, part of my job for a few of the years was I would be put in like the most contentious departments where there's like workplace violence, possible active shooters, sexual assaults, and all sorts. And my job was always to like calm the waters. So me agitating things is like, no, I'm not doing it. But I mean, that's the one thing from like the 20,000 foot views. I'm very consistently and methodically growing. I am the tortoise, just kind of plodding along, getting bigger each year. It's never really sexy looking, but it keeps happening. And so I just keep going.
But also look at you now. And I think these are such great, I mean, these are like ultimate values, like run your own race. It's, yeah. I also think, like, you know, the grass is greener. We look at somebody else's channel, maybe we see their views, we see, oh man, they started later than me, and we can get into that, but you just never know what's happening behind the scenes. And then you also let things play out. You never know if that's going to be sustainable. Where are they going to be in 3 or 6 months or 12 months? And that's not, you're not praying for somebody else's downfall, but like, I've seen that over the long haul, that it's like, well, you know, we'll see. Time will tell. Your race, your pace, run your own race, patience, long game. Newcomers will come on the scene, they'll come and go. But if I think about all of this, it kind of ties up the podcast as like this farmer mentality versus the hunter mentality. And sometimes as a hunter, we do need to like go kill and eat tonight because we have to feed our family. And that's why we work a day job, because we know we work, we get paid. But YouTube and building an online brand that lasts, you don't want to have a hunter mentality, because you want to have a farming mentality. I'm planting seeds, I'm watering them, and then I'm being patient. And sometimes it feels like it's so slow, like I'm staring and trying to watch the grass grow. But over time, and you've proved that out. So you're getting to hear, listeners are getting to hear a narrative and a real story that you've lived in your life of what a YouTube career can look like over years of patience, of diligence, and really of like not having any viral videos, quote unquote viral. But you mentioned a term, VFM, viral for me, just like beating your previous best. And people can't see underneath the surface. They might look at your subscriber count, your view count, and they might be like, oh man, that's not, she must not have much, enough money to live on. But most people only are focusing on views, where you've got this deeper business. And I actually did say we were landing the plane. I do want to close the loop. You've productized what you know. And you've actually created 2 products that on the video version of the podcast you can hold up. You started with 1, now there's 2. Explain these products and actually what it was like. These are beautiful too. And this actually, I hope, inspires vision. Digital products are awesome. It's a good way to get started, but you've gone like full circle into creating these like beautiful resources that you're now able to like offer to your audience. Explain what you've packaged, what you know, and how that ties into your channel. And this is the like almost 50% of your revenue. This is like kind of basically the core of your online business.
Yeah. And it goes back to that whole, like, what's your community? Who are you serving? Because I remember early on, not from the VRA family, but from other people would be like, you're only going to be doing Florida gardening. Like, you're not going to do other things. And like, now I'm the #1 channel for Florida gardening. Like, when you just type in Florida gardening, you will see my video first, and probably 4th and 10th and 12th and 15th, because that's all I do is I talk to Floridians. And when it came to figuring out a product, it was really solving at that time, like what wasn't really being solved for people, which was what to plant and when to plant it, which for Florida is, and that's where like knowing your community is that I recognize that Florida was a very different climate. Most people weren't born here. I could pull up census data to show all that fun stuff. And so I needed to help them. And then so one of the logical things is to have some tool to tell you what to plant and when to plant it. But I am a planner girly. Like forget gardening. I just love planners in general. Like I like plan, like I have happy planners and Bujo planners. If you're in the planner world, you know, like all these little terms. So like, of course I'm going to make a planner that's pretty and that you can like write in and it'll tell you what to plant. And it's Florida specific. It's not for everybody. It is just for Florida and it solves the problems for Florida. And I get lots of good feedback. I get lots of comments unsolicited on videos. People were like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much was in there. Like, I didn't realize like how much planning space you gave me and how much detail you're going to give me for, you know, so, and then I have people now who are like, I live in Arizona. Is there an Arizona version or Georgia version? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know of anyone who's making it. I tell you if I did. And so this answered what to plant and when to plant it. And the book came from a lot of people saying like, I love all your content, but like, is there a place that kind of summarizes the main ideas? Because Florida is so different gardening wise. So it's kind of like, why is Florida different from the way I should understand it? And that's where the book came in, is it really was supposed to help. And it's the beginner's guide to Florida gardening. And it's really supposed to help people with like the very fundamental concepts around our environment, our wildlife, our ecosystems, and how it applies to their gardening. And it breaks it down in a very specific way. And so then they kind of pair really nicely together because this helps you understand why things are happening the way they are in Florida. But this just keeps you on track to be like, hey, you know, most gardening channels right now are just planting their first seeds for lettuce. And I'm like, forget lettuce, forget even tomatoes at this point. Like we're on to like loofahs and stuff like that. So it'll help them understand why am I saying all the crazy things I say. So yeah. And what happened was like, I did a lot of pricing and that's when the bundle came up. It was in late 2023 is when I started offering the bundles because I realized from a pricing structure, it could increase my profit margins on the book. So like you can get the book through Amazon, but if I offer it with a planner, instead of making $2 on this book, I now make $7.50 on the book by combining it with this. And then I make the same high profit margin on the planner too. And then that allows me to not work in a factory.
So how much is the planner?
The planner is $39.
And then the book is an upsell?
Is $10 plus shipping. So it's combined with shipping, it's around $54, $55 for them.
If they get the bundle.
If they get the bundle, which most people get the bundle. That was the interesting thing. I just put it together because I was like, hey, this would be an idea. I didn't even mention it. We just threw it on the page and we started selling way more bundles. Like it's not even 50-50 planner bundle. It's way over.
And then do you know your margin off of that? So by the time you're printing everything and getting it all shipped out?
Yes. So are you talking about for the planner or for
maybe the whole bundle? Once shipping's paid for, $54 collected, but then there's the cost of shipping and the cost of printing.
It's about $20 profit, $22 profit.
Got it. So you've really built out, and then how is your book on CreateSpace through Amazon? Basically, like anybody, you could also upload it on Amazon.
Yeah. So they're both made through KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. So they can both be bought on Amazon. The difference is that the planner is at a much higher price on Amazon. So I still make the same profit margin on the book. But by buying it through me, you get it at discount because they take a lot. They take a lot in the royalty side, like a lot.
That actually, I mean, that's just across the board, no matter what the product is. If you go direct to the website, it would seem like they can give you, because Amazon is not taking their cut when you cut Amazon out, you know?
Right.
But Amazon is a big marketplace. So the idea that you could have it in both places is also nice because if any sales come in. And then also, we continue to unpack more nuggets. You actually were able to get that beautiful book. You could hold it up again. One of our, partners, a friend of mine, Chandler Bolt, has a company called Self-Publishing School. And so you work with them to get that book done, right? Like how was that experience?
Oh, my coach, Brett, he was great. He was great. I liked, and I like that Elite now kind of has a very similar system. It was great. Because I mean, like, I think we had like a little free thing where we did like a brainstorm dump, but like what I really liked is, so Brett was my coach, and he would really spend the time following, it's like their model of like, what are you trying to accomplish? And it's very similar stuff that what we do in the VRA, like the niche finder and stuff like that. Like, who are you trying to reach? What are you trying to solve for them? And all that kind of stuff. So making sure it was really, but I loved how they would have writing sessions, writing rooms. So like you would show up like Wednesday morning, you turn on your cameras, you tell everybody tells each other what they're going to write, like what they're going to work on. Like, I'm going to work on chapter 2, I'm going to get 500 words done, whatever. And then we all turn our cameras off and there's just like meditative music and we would just, but their method of like how to work through a book for me worked really well. Because I knocked this thing out like super fast. I don't even remember. I think I joined probably in the spring. It came out August of 2023. So it was like 6 to 9 months, I think, the whole process. Maybe I started in January, but it was about 6 to 9 months. And I had a published book.
Man, that's so cool. So a couple of resources I want Think Media Podcast to know about is I'll put in the show notes. I actually have a couple of videos to maybe help you decide reasons to write a book and how to make it happen. That's a free video series on the podcast or audio series. I'll link that up in the show notes. And then also, if you want to learn a little bit more about what Jacqueline did, if you go to startyourbook.live, there's an on-demand class from Self-Publishing School about some really tactical things of how to write and publish your book in 90 days. So that URL is startyourbook.live. That'll be in the show notes. And then a couple other resources earlier on too, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about ranking videos and affiliate marketing, we have a free class on demand at Think Media at thinkmasterclass.com. That'll all be in the show notes, a few extra episodes, a few extra resources. And Jacqueline, you've added just massive value today. I want you to give a full roll call if people want to check your channel out, which I think they should. Good students study. Success leaves clues, and you've been very successful, and your channel's very also unique and I think inspiring. I want, if you're not driving or able to actually check out Jacqueline's channel, I mean, I think you could see like videos don't have to be complex. She's still filming on her phone. You look at like kind of the overall content of her channel, like it's an inspiration to see what you've done and also how financially successful it's been, speaking to the impact and income. So where can people follow you? We'll make sure that all these links are in the show notes.
I'm 100% YouTube. So you can find me. You can just go to YouTube and you can just type in Florida gardening. I am usually 99 point. Actually, for the last 18 months, I'll say it. Let me celebrate myself.
We're like, yeah, look,
I'm number one
gardening. I just own the whole space.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you just type in Florida gardening and you'll see lots of my videos. But the channel name is Wild Floridian.
Yeah.
So I'm here to help and support my Floridians find the joy of gardening down here in the subtropics, growing food and flowers.
Yes. Okay. Final question. What's your best advice for someone with a full-time job who wants to build a profitable YouTube channel without burning out?
Without burning out? Work based on time, not by accomplishment. So your time is limited. So you will basically say, this is the time I have to edit. And that's what I get. So I get an hour to edit. That's what I get. And it'll force you to start making choices because we could always make it better. We could always make it more something, but forcing yourself to just have time blocks to just, this is what I'm going to do. I have a half hour to film or I have 30 minutes to prep. And that's all I got because that's what I got for the week. That way you can do your job and keep showing up for your job. You can keep showing up for your family. You still have time to sleep and relax. Sometimes you can do that. And then, but then you start getting stuff done. So I have an hour. This is my list. I'm going to get as far as I can on my list. And that is what it is. That would be my best way to say, to just get started. And then just get out of your head, get out of your own way, because that's the time killer, is overthinking things. You just got to, I do it even to this day. I turn on a timer. I'm like, you got 90 minutes, go. That's what you got. You got to get it done.
Jacqueline, so grateful for you. And Think Media Podcast, wherever you listen or watch, it means the world to us if you like, rate, review, and share the podcast. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and I can't wait to connect with you in a future episode.
Students, they are going out and changing the world.
I am constantly amazed at how various people have changed my mind.
They're building networks across the globe and across industries.
Take the move, just do it.
I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you. I trusted you.
Poster, they're one of the channels you follow, and you can post on it.
Yeah,
You can
so
post on their wall.
it's in beta right now. So you'll go to the channel, you'll see like a communities button, and you'll press that communities button, and you'll go to a new page that has these sort of community discussions, and you'll see like if you want, you can go to the tab that's just the creator. But if you also want to see the community, you can go to that tab, and you'll see a whole bunch of different discussions.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's exciting. That'll be rolling out a way to build connections. Now, another, I guess this is noted as well, comments tab overhaul. Yeah, so different than communities, the comments tab is having an overhaul. It's turning into the community hub. And I updated my studio app on my phone, the YouTube studio app, and I noticed I already have this. And it actually changed names from, I think, comments to communities. Maybe it depended. So having Think Media Podcast channel as well as a Think Media channel, my Think Media Podcast channel still says comments. My Think Media channel says community. And when I go there, it actually is giving me some new stats, a way to engage in comments with some AI responses that I could reply to people, which was a feature that also on desktop I've had previously, as well as a spotlight of some of our most active and commenting audience members. So what's kind of the vision of this comments tab overhaul?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, and it's stuff that we've heard from creators for a while. One is that it was hard to maintain engagement as the channel got bigger and bigger. Like we'd hear, like in the beginning, creators would respond to every single comment, and then they'd be, I'll respond to the comments for the first day, then I'll respond to comments for the first hour, just because the size of the task got bigger and bigger. And also sometimes it would be hard to figure out exactly what to say, and you would just look and see there's like 30 empty comment boxes. I don't even know where to begin. I'm just going to leave. And with this, again, it's not meant to replace that human interaction, but if you're sitting there stuck and you're like, I don't know what, like, this is the third version of this question, I just don't know how to make a different reply now, you'll have some ideas. It doesn't post for you. If you tap on it, you have the ability to edit it, to customize it, but it does try to learn your tone, like the way that you do reply to comments, to get you as far along as possible. And the comment, again, it may not be great, but you put it in there and you can go from there. It's going to break that sort of creator's block when it comes to responding to more comments. And the other one was just visibility into comments. Like, as you grow, do you know who are the people who are engaging with you the most? And so this tries to bring them up, and you can look at them and you can see the history of their interactions with the channel. So if you do want to find some of the people who are most engaged, who are like just the most interactive with you, you can easily figure those out in case you want to like shout them out or start replying to them more often. It just gives you like a better sense of the community that you're growing.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, once your mobile app is updated with that and your channel gets it, like John Clay, for example, in our audience, he actually comments on every single video on pretty much both channels. And so big thanks, John, for commenting. It says 100 plus. You can like look into the history of what he's commented. And I suppose I could take a screenshot on my phone and edit that into a future video or do some other stuff. Maybe it leads to collaborations. I love the vision, and I love YouTube's heart for wanting to empower creators to really create that community connection and have better tools for doing it. All right. Well, we have many more things, as well as shorts coming up here and the viewer features, but just a couple more on these new updates. There's a new monetization update, and that's called Jewels and Gifts, What is that?
So we wanted to make Vertical Live just more fun. So Vertical Live is a feature we rolled out last year. It goes into the Shorts feed, so it's got a lot of really good discovery. But what we've seen is like people in those situations, they really want to interact. And so with Jewels, you can buy a bundle of Jewels and then use those to get gifts for creators. So it's not a one-on-one thing. It's not like direct fan funding, like a super chat might be, but it's like you bought this bundle of Jewels. Now you're going through, maybe on the weekend, you're watching a bunch of Vertical Lives. You have this great moment. You don't have to worry about a transaction. You don't have to worry about taking time, doing like a verification or anything. I want to buy this little gift. And there'll be different gifts that are like these cute little animations, and you'll be able to grab them with your Jewels and they'll pop up on the screen. And it's just a way of being like more interactive with the Vertical Live stream. And we're starting with Vertical Live just because it felt like that was a really good vibe to get this started with.
I want to lean in on that as well, because years ago, I could go live through HTTP or whatever it's called, FTM, whatever. I could go live through a webcam. I could go live on mobile, and I could go live vertically, but it wouldn't have been Vertical Live. Yeah. When did Vertical Live start? Meaning you're talking about Shorts feed distribution of live, would that also be desktop? Someone could check in desktop, and they'd see that you're live around the avatar of your channel.
Yes.
But what's the difference between you were vertical and live a few years ago and Vertical Live as it is now?
Yeah, so Vertical Live, like the big advantage of Vertical Live again is you get placement in the Shorts feed, and that's just a way for people to discover you. So they're in there, they're watching Shorts, they're swiping through, and they can see that you're live. And if they want to, they can tap in and engage with that, or they can just pause any short, tap the live button, and start swiping through different people who are live. And I think there's it's the same thing with Shorts in general. Like video, like the threshold for high quality video got bigger and bigger until some people, casual people, new people, were intimidated about getting started because they didn't have this pro gamer setup or pro live stream setup. And now they can just, I forget what that's like. They can just go live anywhere. They can go live at the store. They can go live at the top of the mountain. They can go live from home if they want to. Some people stream mobile video games just because the aspect ratio is good. But it was supposed to just open up reduce the barrier of entries and open up live streaming to everybody, with the added advantage that it's hard to build an audience. But putting people in the Shorts feed, you can find people who have similar interests when people are exploring and trying to find things to watch, and get them in there to at least give you a try.
I love it. So then, and if you go live horizontally, you're not going to get distributed in the Shorts feed if you go live kind of traditional.
Yeah, that's true. Traditional live is sort of the horizontal thing, and it tends to be much more involved, and they have bigger setups and all that. This is very much the casual equivalent of live.
And I can confirm, just as one of the trends we've been noticing is YouTube being very intentional about promoting small creators, meaning perhaps 1 out of every 4 video I see suggested to me in different places, on home especially, is perhaps a smaller creator or a newer creator, usually dovetailed to subject matter that I'm searching or topics that I'm interested in. As I'm also swiping on my Shorts feed, I have been seeing people that I do not know or do not follow getting a chance with Vertical Live. And so I'm just consuming Shorts, and then I see somebody doing a Vertical Live. And in many cases, it's held me for a few seconds and very well could lead to a relationship and somebody I want to go and dig into further. So we talked about jewels and gifts, but that is something that you might want to look into as well, is experimenting with going live using your smartphone and that opportunity to be distributed into the Shorts feed. There's one little thing here that is expanded YouTube shopping, meaning that YouTube shopping is going to be expanded into Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Is there anything else related to YouTube shopping? I will say this, we've gotten excited about it at Think Media, more so than in the past, I think, because we started seeing the opportunity as we talk about tech. And Craig, for example, was doing a quickly cutting out a video or making a quick smartphone video from best cheap lens for Sony cameras, which is this Viltrock lens that's under $200 with autofocus. And then realizing, okay, cool, with YouTube shopping, we can connect that to Adorama camera or Walmart. And so we've been huge proponents of affiliate marketing of various kinds. But YouTube shopping is, I guess, also very similar to TikTok shopping. It's kind of as a competitor or in the same mindset. Amazon has this thing called Inspire, which is kind of this vertical TikTok type of feed that's also connected to shopping. So for all I'm saying is that I really see this as not only I'm sure it's crushing for YouTube depending on the niche, but I see it as an emerging frontier and something creators could be taking more seriously and thinking about how it applies to them in 2025. But anything else, in response to some of my thoughts here and beyond how it's going to get expanded to more countries around the world?
No, I think like the expansion was the news there, and I think you nailed it. It's like there's just so much out there and there's so much noise. And what creators do is like we build these relationships, these communities with people, and it's a relationship of mutual trust and respect. And that's why recommendations from creators are so powerful. It's like you don't necessarily you don't know what coffee machine to buy, but you might have a favorite coffee YouTuber and you've seen all their reviews. But if you go on that live experience or you go into that video that has the shop there, you can sort of look around, but also make that purchase if and when you feel like you have enough information or you trust their recommendation. I think that's the power there. It's like one human being connecting to another and trying to help you through just the endless sea of products out there.
Can you connect products before you do a vertical live? Is that kind of what I'm hearing you saying?
That I'd have to check up. I know we're working a lot of it in videos now. So you'll watch a lot of tech videos now. I have a tech channel and you can set up products that the things that you're reviewing or the things that you're going over or the things that you're recommending will show up for people. And then if that is what they're interested in, it's available to them right there.
So that you're saying that it might be happening automatically because it understands you are talking about them, and that
I do it manually. I don't think we have any automatic. I can double check that as well, but I'm still doing it manually on my channel.
You're doing it manually though while you're live, as opposed to before you press go live.
I'm not talking about live. Sorry, I'm talking about videos.
Gotcha.
Regular videos. Yeah,
that's interesting. So I do wonder. I could see that evolution. That reminds me of Amazon Live in a lot of ways, where oftentimes creators might plan out the 20 products they're doing, especially around Black Friday or something, and then those are all linked underneath it. So bottom line is, I think something to consider and pay attention to. We're talking about new features, opportunities, and I know our community also loves affiliate marketing. And so I think thinking about how that could relate to you and how you could serve people, help people, and create a win-win-win for helping people find cool stuff that they would love. And then also improved TV experience. So creators can organize content into seasons and episodes for better TV viewing. And then there's a few other things happening here. What's happening with TV?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is, some people are talking a lot about shorts and about shorter form videos, but we're also seeing people really like the experience of being at home. Like maybe you're driving, you're listening to a podcast, you get home, you go inside, you're going to start cooking or doing some housework, and you just switch it to your TV and suddenly it's a video podcast because people enjoy seeing other people. Or they're watching, they're waiting for this big epic documentary that went up or this big challenge video, and they want to watch it on the big screen, maybe with their family, with their friends, a shared experience. And so we're seeing these longer videos really doing well there. But like anything, sometimes people don't want to actually have, it's one thing if you're on your phone and you can just keep switching videos, but if you're sitting there in the living room or you were cooking or you're working, you probably want to put something on and just enjoy it. And if that's a long video, that's fine, but maybe that's also a series of videos where you watch somebody testing every burger and then every chicken burger and then every, whatever it is, they can package things up into these seasons, these episodes, so that if you want to, you could just watch it like you would a television show.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Now, it seems like it leans in the way even the user interface and kind of user experience makes it feel kind of more like Netflix and maybe kind of having that that TV screen, of course, experience as you'd click through content. But could you also see education creators leveraging this and perhaps people that are breaking down similar to our content and video podcasters maybe using this, certainly podcasters that are maybe doing true crime or entertainment types of episodes. Could you see applying seasons and episodes being a benefit to those types of creators?
Yeah, I think anything binging is always great because it shows that someone is deeply invested and really satisfied with your content. So if you set up those series, I think for podcasters, it's easy because if you're watching one episode and you want to just keep watching those, it's a very easy flow. So you have the seasons, you have the episodes. For education, I think it's the same thing. Like if you have 5 videos on the engineering of planes and you put those into a series and you have episodes, and then you have boats and then you have cars, and people can just pick the one that they like, put it on, and then go about working out, doing housework, whatever whatever they want to do, or just like lounging back and relaxing, and it'll just play one after the other. And it's that linear experience, that linear TV experience where you don't have to deal with the tyranny of choice. So you made your choice, now you can just sit back and relax and let it play.
Now, I also saw that there's immersive content, streamlined subscriptions, and easier access to links and descriptions on TV screens coming as well. So that's kind of cool because for creators that maybe want to link to other resources or point people to things, that looks like that's another update that's either coming or is already here.
Yeah, we're rolling this stuff out. So like we have immersive channel pages where right now we have a sort of edge to edge art, but that art is going to become video. So it'll start playing one of the videos from your channel on the channel page so people can start seeing what your videos are about. And then we'll also have QR codes for things like links so that if you're watching there, you're not near a computer, so maybe you have your phone with you, you can pick up your phone, turn on the camera, go immediately to those links. We're gonna have a big subscribe button on the channel page, so it's much easier to subscribe to channels if you want to sort of bookmark them or make sure you can come back to them at any time. We just want to make the experience of watching on television much easier for viewers, which in turn makes it better for creators.
Well, we have already covered so much. This is like the ultimate guide to prepare for YouTube in 2025. And I want to talk about shorts and some of the things happening there, especially with 3-minute shorts. And then we'll also talk about some of the viewer updates in regards to the way we consume content. But of course, it's major news that you could start uploading 3-minute shorts as of October 15th and beyond. If they are square or vertical and 3 minutes or less, they will now become a shorts feed and not like a long form video. But I also did see a post from you. Some people tried to do this right on October 15th, and you mentioned this is going to be rolling out in terms of when these shorts get distributed into the shorts feed. And so let the algorithm kind of grow into this, let the whole system kind of catch up to this. What's sort of the status and updates in regards to 3-minute shorts? Do you ever wish that YouTube came with a cheat code? Well, it kind of does. It's called vidIQ, and it's packed with AI tools to help you grow your channel faster. Think of it like having a YouTube expert in your corner, giving you personalized tips and tricks to improve your videos so that ultimately you can get more views and subscribers. And the best part is you can try it out for 30 days for just $1. If you want to grab this offer, just go to vidiq.com/think or click the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back into the episode. What's sort of the status and updates in regards to 3-minute shorts?
Sure. So what we felt was really important was to give creators a date, because creators have been uploading vertical long form videos for a while, and we didn't want to just take those and make them shorts. We felt we wanted to honor and respect the intent of the creators. We wanted to give creators a date and say, from October 15th, if you keep uploading vertical videos under 3 minutes, from now on, those are going to become shorts. That way you could adjust your upload schedule or your strategic choices from a position of knowing what was going to happen and not be surprised. So starting October 15th, if you upload those videos, they're still going to look like long form videos right now. Over the next week or so, they're going to start being brought into the shorts feed. So you'll start to go through the shorts feed and you'll see videos as usual up to a minute, but also videos that go up to 3 minutes now as well. Over the next several weeks, going into November, those shorts are going to be organized into the short shelf on the subscription feed and onto the channel page into the shorts tab. So it'll start looking more like shorts. The algorithm is going to start working on balancing out and figuring out how people like shorter versus longer shorts. That should probably take a few weeks, but like anything, the algorithm is always learning. It's always trying to do a better job. It's always trying to understand the audience more. So over the next few months, we expect that to get better and better. And then starting in the early next year, we're going to start integrating that into the creation tools on the app. So right now you can upload up to 3-minute shorts, but early next year, we'll be able to start creating up to 3-minute shorts in the main YouTube app as well.
So to clarify that last point, creators that are editing in a separate app like CapCut, filming on their phone, or filming with a fancy camera horizontal and editing in Final Cut or DaVinci Resolve and uploading, they can do that now. But once you update your app in a few months, right from your phone, it's not going to be limited to 60 seconds. You could create right in app up to 3 minutes, and that'll take some time to roll that out.
Yes.
Got you. Now, there's a few other things that were announced. You can easily recreate shorts you like with templates. What are templates?
So for a while, you've been able to say, hey, I like this song, I want to use this song, or I like this effect, I want to use this effect, but it was like a one-off each one. So now you'll be able to see a short that you like and just see everything that went into it, the sort of the music that's in it, the effects that are in it, take all of those and not reproduce that short, but see the elements that you liked about that short and use that in a short of your own. Just like sort of a shortcut to get the same vibe.
I got you. And then I think Remix has been around for a while, but you'll be able to remix clips from your favorite YouTube videos. What is Remix?
Remix is like, you see a short you like, you press that button, you'll be able to, like you've been able to for a while, green screen that or do a stitch with that short. So you'll be able to like have a few seconds of that short play, then switch to you with your reaction, or do side by side. So you can have, you can be looking at a short and commenting on it, or a long form video commenting on it at the same time. So it's just a way to sort of be more communal, because like the knock on shorts is always like they have tremendous reach, but not a lot of community. But I think features like this and features like Reply with Short let you bring a lot of community into the shorts ecosystem.
And hit what Reply with Shorts is as well, because I think that's kind of an underrated feature for some that don't realize someone can ask a comment, as they often do on your channel. You can reply with a short, leveraging the fact that it could be a very cool comment that would make a great response that other people are thinking, and then you're essentially turning that into a short that now exists on your short feed, correct?
Yeah, it goes into the comments in line so people can see it there if they're looking at the comments, and it goes into the short feed as well. And there are some channels that basically just do that. Like they'll say a strong opinion about a TV show or a movie, then someone will comment and they'll reply with a short, then there'll be a comment on that, they'll reply with another short. And you have these extended conversations over dozens of shorts, like about some fan community or issue or area of interest.
So you can also reply with a short on a long form video, or reply to a comment on a short with a short.
Yes. Yeah, I love that feature. It's one of my favorites.
And then ultimately, we would guess that right now you couldn't reply to a short for 3 minutes, but in a few months you probably could.
I can double check that, but like, because you can also upload, you don't have to generate the short inside the camera. You can upload. So the uploader might let you do up to 3 minutes already.
Interesting. Okay, so not only that gets even more interesting, that like, oh man, I got 60 seconds, which was kind of a nice constraint to have to answer the question, but perhaps you want to do something high quality in response to that question, or a little bit longer and assemble something. You could maybe do up to 3 minutes. Very interesting where this is all going. There's a few other updates regarding YouTube Shorts. We talked about Google's DeepMind AI already, generating video in regards to backgrounds and B-roll clips, and that will continue to evolve. But there's also a new Shorts trends page on mobile. Is that fully rolled out?
I think all of the stuff is rolling out. So some people might have it, but it should come to everybody eventually. And like Shorts trends are like a really unique part of the Shorts culture. And you see this, like there'll be a new song and a new dance, and you see it once, and then suddenly you see it 10 times and then 20 times. It doesn't last for that long. Like some of them go longer than others, but there are these brief moments or these protracted moments of, someone said something funny, or a movie clip. There was like a great movie scene and people just start overdubbing and redubbing it. And it's a way to, especially if you're not sure what to do, you want to create something, you can check out the trends, jump on one of those trends and add yourself to that conversation.
Nice. Okay. So that it's gathering trends like, I don't know, everyone's feed's probably a little bit different, but for me, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us was like every other short for a while. So obviously spotting a trend like that might be more obvious if you're seeing it, but this could expose you to some opportunities that you could jump on. And, I'd encourage listeners, like in a lot of cases, our community is maybe teaching people to do sourdough bread and a lot of education channels, right? And not necessarily as much dancing or something like that. However, I think that trend surfing, no matter what industry you're in, if you're B2B, if you are, a serious education channel, it can be an interesting way when you find the right trend, the right humor tied to it, the right moment to trigger some growth and jump onto something that's really cool and could be tied into your brand, your business, and what it is you're doing, which there's another new update. You can get a preview of comments right from the Shorts feed.
Yeah, we're rolling out a bunch of different tools that are just like short. I'm going to just go over them quickly because there a lot of these are really cool. Like a bunch of stickers, so you can ask people for Q&A. You can add yours. Like if you want to show your dog, or you want to show your version of lasagna, you can say, "Hey, show me yours," and then people can jump on that and add theirs to them. And we're just going to keep increasing those sorts of like also like comments. Maybe you don't see a comment, but we surface a comment for you. You tap the comment and right from there, you can reply on it. We just want to be able to make it so that if you're there, you want to create a short, you're not exactly sure what you want to do. We're going to provide you with these options. You can pick the one that suits you, or you can like ignore them and say, I have a different idea entirely. But we want to give you all those options to try to spark as much creativity as we can.
Got it. And then one other thing I noticed is there's an option to show fewer shorts in your home feed. For some, depending on where they're consuming, they're like, I actually don't want to watch shorts, or I just want to stick with the long form. I prefer to seek out shorts on my own terms, but maybe not have them just showing up in my home feed. That's like a toggle switch or some type of an option to select. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so you'll be able to hit the 3-dot menu and say show fewer shorts, and then that shelf won't be there. It'll come back eventually, because one of the problems is people forget they turn things off, and then they wonder where it happened. Like, hey, where'd my shorts go? So we want to make sure like you can do it as often as you want to do it, but every time you do it, it'll just remove those shorts from your homepage for a while, so you can look at whatever else you want to, like your long forms or your lives or your podcasts or whatever it is.
Now, has there been any talks about filtering this subscription feed? And I know for some, they're like, could I just make it so, like even right now in my subscription feed, I guess I already have it. I could do all, because I start with a community tab post, then I see a short, then I see a video, another community tab post. But I could say today, I could say videos only, and that would clean it up. And then I could click shorts and I'd see shorts only. So I suppose the question I was about to ask is already solved. Maybe that's a recent update. I'm not sure, but I'm describing that right now. I'm talking about on mobile, at least on my phone at this moment. I can filter my subscription feed between unwatched, continue watching, posts, lives, and or just all, probably based on a YouTube algorithm that's kind of showing me what all is for the channels I'm subscribed to.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance, because like some people, when they subscribe, they really mean I want to have the opportunity to see everything from that creator. And other people are like, yeah, I only want some things, but then like the sum of some things, like I want long form and podcast, but not shorts, and I don't want live. And you'd have to make so many different feed options that it becomes untenable. So trying to make filters more than sort of like, we're trying to give people the ability to filter what they want to see without creating like so much overhead and complexity that it becomes impossible to navigate.
Well, that's genius. And so that shorts update, as far as show fewer shorts in the feed, is one thing, but also I encourage listeners, update your YouTube app and check out your subscription feed and get familiar with how you can maybe just look at videos, just lives, just posts, some cool options there. Well, a few other things going deeper on shorts. A big question is, making money with shorts, is there going to be any increased revenue if the short is longer? Do we not know, or is it kind of the same?
So I think like we get this question because there are platforms that try to incentivize you to make shorts of a certain length. But what YouTube really does is we want to honor the partner program, like the ideal that YouTube's always had, that we split revenue, we share revenue, and then YouTube and creators succeed better together. And so like the rev share is still the rev share for shorts. Making a longer short is, I want to tell a better story, or I think like this needs more space. And then if the short performs better, you'll get more views, and that more views will translate to more revenue. We don't want to sort of artificially put our finger on something and say, hey, if you make shorter shorts, you'll get more money, or longer shorts, you'll get more, because that's us manipulating the system. And we really want to make it like we'll split revenue with you. You make the best short according to like your choices, your desire. Balance your artist hat with your like commerce hat. Figure out what you want to do, and then like the best shorts will pull the most views and earn the most revenue, or the most satisfying shorts for the viewers.
And so, if I understand correctly, then though it will remain the same, meaning of course long form could have a pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, and it's sort of a different experience. Shorts is an ad will play in between however many shorts, and there's like a cluster that revenue is distributed to, that were viewed, that are getting that ad displayed. So to your point, whether somebody watches a 15-second short or sticks to the end of a 3-minute short, they would be getting revenue based on when ads are being played for individuals in that cluster. But I would imagine, since YouTube loves watch time, and since time on platform is such a huge value, that if you create a world-class short that is closer to 3 minutes that people love and it holds their attention, then there's probably a good chance that so long as audiences are continue to being satisfied, that you could get a lot of traction off that simply because of time on platform. Am I thinking correctly?
I think that with shorts in particular, because you can be so short, we wouldn't want to disincentivize people from making it. Like if someone said like, this is the best idea I have, and it's a 15-second short, like it's an incredible punchline that just delights everybody, we wouldn't want to disincentivize that either. So I think like we're going to look at shorts. My understanding is we're going to look at shorts a little differently than we look at long form, and make sure that shorts of all lengths have opportunities to really succeed.
That's interesting. And ultimately, though, there's a swipe away rate, so that's going to matter no matter what the length. And then there's perhaps not just average view duration, maybe average percentage viewed, because a 15-second and looping 15-second, and maybe there's actually many shorts. Sometimes I'm getting ready and swiping shorts, and I'm like shaving or something, and so I'm like, well, I just watched that 6 times, not even because I liked it. I just did, my hand was tied up. But then there's other times when there's the short's funny. I got to watch it again. Legitimately, I'm like, that gets 2-3 plays. So that's interesting. So, okay, algorithmically, of course, YouTube will continue to evolve there. Now, one of the big questions coming in, and some of these are from a community tab post we did in preparation for me talking to you, was, any copyright issues based on the difference of 1 minute to 3 minute. What I've heard is, music rights is its own interesting dynamic that YouTube has brought so much evolution to, and there's partnerships. And so being able to use, I even know when I early started posting shorts, sometimes I could use a song, but I could only use it for 15 seconds. So if I made a 32-second short, the song cut off at 15 seconds. And it was a popular song, though, that YouTube was allowing probably through the labels and the distribution for you to use. And I've noticed that at the 1 minute level, there's maybe, especially as it pertains to music, there's a certain level of content that's being created there, and maybe how people are using fair use. If that something's ultimately fair use, I suppose it would not be an issue up to 3 minutes. But there was already some statements from YouTube about there kind of being a difference once you cross that 1 minute mark. Can you kind of break that down?
Yeah, I have to preface by saying I'm not a copyright person, so this is my understanding though is the Shorts music library was built for up to one, the existing Shorts product, and we haven't announced anything around how that's going to work with 3 minute shorts yet. So I think if you want to use a Shorts music library, stick to 1 minute shorts for now until you hear differently from YouTube.
In ancient Egypt, cats were worshipped, and to this day, they haven't forgotten. Treat your cat like royalty with Sheba Selections fillets, packed with real shrimp and chicken fillets. Sheba, what cats want.
New Energy CRX Triple Serum Retinol. Fade your wrinkles, not your smile. Lancôme.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running. That's why at Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
First ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Choice Hotels get you more for your money, so you can maximize any vacation from the second you log off.
Can you help maximize this out-of-office reply?
Sure. I was so productive on my business trip at this Radisson Hotel, I'm taking a much-needed vacay with the ladies.
Yes.
The Cambria Hotel rooftop cocktails are fire.
Woo!
See you never. Huh? Just kidding. If you need anything, email Janet.
You do know there's no Janet, right?
I do know that. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
So to put that another way is that sometimes, you can use popular music because it is in the YouTube library, but also this probably has to do with the player itself or the creator itself being updated, because who knows, in 6 months, when the ability to create 3 minute shorts comes from your phone, maybe there's an evolution there in terms of the music library. But another way to put it, and if I remember reading the YouTube blog correctly, if you want to use those trending songs, you're going to be doing that in the Shorts creator as it is now, up to a minute.
Yeah.
If you want to do a 3 minute short, YouTube recommended, there is a library with royalty-free music that anybody can access at any time that will cause you no issues, not only on YouTube, but even on other platforms. It's a very generous permission there. And then you could also try other royalty-free, copyright-free things as you would in any format. And without going too deep here, Another question came in about the reused content policy, which is an interesting thing, and listeners could look that up. It's something that there is statements from YouTube about that kind of goes into, I think the key word they say is transformation. Because people are like, man, how do people use news, or how do they use sports, or how do they use, and like you said, neither of us are going to make any legal statements here because we don't have that expertise, but it's a real thing. Do you have anything to say? And this person was like, how many channels that are clipping out sports clips talking about NBA games, but they don't get a reused content notice? Any thoughts on this reuse content policy? Of course, staying within the bounds of, this is your opinion, maybe.
Yeah, so I did a video with TK, Thomas Kim, who runs the YouTube Partner Program, specifically on reuse content. So people want to, they can go to Creator Insider and watch that video, and he's way more knowledgeable about this stuff than I am. But I think the crux of it is YouTube wants to reward creativity. Like, it doesn't want to be sort of like, 800 versions of the exact same video being uploaded over and over again. So I would just encourage creators to be creative, to do that thing, to make something uniquely your own. People worry about I got caught for this, but this other person didn't, or I didn't get caught. It's sort of like sports. If you're out of bounds and the ref calls it, you can point out the other player was out of bounds as well. Doesn't mean you're miraculously not going to get called for being out of bounds. It just means that they check the tape, they might find out the other person is out of bounds as well. So I'd always try to, as much as possible, adhere to the rules of the road, because you might not have been, you might see other channels that haven't been caught yet, but I wouldn't use that to base your own strategic decisions on.
Okay, great insight. And we, in the show notes, will link to the Creator Insider channel if you're not subscribed, essential channel to follow, as well as that specific video if you want to dive a little bit deeper on the reuse content policy. Before we move on to these 12 viewer updates that I have listed here, how can creators effectively balance creating both shorts and long form? One of the questions that came in was, if I'm going to start a channel in 2025, which format should I focus on? It's kind of your personal opinion as a content creator yourself. Long form, shorts, or both? Up to 3 minutes, 1 minute for maybe the creator that's overwhelmed. And specifically speaking to creators that are just getting into this, they want to start. What would your advice for dipping your toes into the YouTube world be?
Yeah, it's funny because, again, I've been a creator since 2008, so it was all long form back then. And so I'm just so used to making long form videos. But for the last year, I think I've been making almost exclusively shorts, just because I wanted to get short, literally short bits of information out. And I kind of love them all. And I love that we live in a time where previously you had to be a big studio. If you're putting out a giant blockbuster movie, you'd have your commercials leading up to it, which are sort of like shorts. And then you might have a red carpet premiere, which is sort of like premiering a video. And then you might have that big video drop, and it could be a music video or a movie or something. And then maybe you go live for an interview and you take questions and do Q&A. And then you sort of chop those things up and you put them back into shorts, say, biggest movie in America, or this great clip from this interview that was happening. And now any creator can do that. Any creator has access to all of those tools to do what effectively took a studio before, but it doesn't mean any creator has to. And I think that's the important part, because we've seen creators say, hey, I started making a bunch of shorts and now my long form video views are down. And we'll go and take a look and say, well, you created 4 long form videos a month up until you started making shorts. Now you're only creating 2 videos, long form videos a month. So because creators don't have endless attention either, there's an opportunity cost. And maybe each of those long form videos is getting more views than the previous ones, but they're only looking at the top level, at the total views per month and not views per video. So I think you have to think deeply about what your channel strategy is and what's important to you. And if you want to tell a really in-depth educational documentary story, maybe start off with long form, test a few shorts to see if you can get some more interest in the kind of material you're making. But if you just want to do a lot of quick experimentation, then you can make a ton of shorts and sort of figure out what you really care about and what the audience really vibes with, and not have to do a ton of production to get there. So I think it's important to figure out what works best for you and your audience.
Yeah, that's some great advice. And I do love the opportunity that, my perspective is complexity is the enemy of execution. And so trying to get too fancy at the start can keep you stuck and keep you from without publishing. And I love short form content, because if you grab your smartphone and you hit record, you can get into the content creation game so fast right now, and being less worried. You can add on these other formats later and you can make things more complex later. But keep it simple, punch fear in the face, punch perfectionism in the face, press record. And I think start with shorts is a good idea for a lot of people because it'll help you strengthen your content creation skills. And you can then transfer those to longer form later. But it is choose your own adventure. And that's what's really exciting about YouTube. Okay, I'm going to hit these 12 viewer updates and I might stop and you will go through a little cluster here and you can give me any feedback. But there's some really cool stuff happening in regards to just how we're consuming content. Reminder to update your YouTube app. Number one, there's an improved mini player. So you can resize and move the mini player around by browsing. I already noticed that. It looks a little bit different. Super cool. Number two, collaborative playlists. You can invite friends to contribute to playlists using links or soon QR codes on TV. And number three, custom playlist thumbnails. You can design your own playlist covers with photo, text, and stickers or use AI to generate one. Let's stick on any of those first three. Collaborative playlists, like what's the vision here?
Yeah, I think like there's twofold because we're also going to do voting on playlists as well. So let's say like you're at home and you're having a party. I think like music videos would be the obvious one, but maybe everyone likes to cook or maybe everyone likes comedy and you just queue up a bunch of comedy videos, but then everyone scans a QR code and they add their favorites to it or their favorite cooking episodes to it. And then people can vote them up and down and that's what's going to play while you have like everyone there watching or everyone there like, cooking or whatever you want to do. And then the voting, I think, is really interesting because like if you're a tech creator or like someone like you, maybe you've reviewed 5 or 6 cameras that year and you put those in a playlist and you ask your audience to vote on them. And then as part of your end of the year wrap up, you can say, well, I think this is the best camera, but the audience has also voted and their favorite was this review because they've gone through and that one's been the most upvoted in the playlist. So I think it just unlocks a bunch of really cool collaborative options for people.
I love that. And then custom playlist thumbnails. So you're going to be able to design your own playlist cover. So once you've grouped your videos in a playlist, there's also the power to say, like, this is the official playlist. Check that box. I think that probably a lot of people listening to this have not thought about playlists or not using them strategically, but you're adding some abilities to kind of give it a packaging with photos, text, and then even to use AI to generate one. But here's kind of a question for you. Do you think playlists are underrated for a lot of creators? Like a lot of creators are not using them strategically or knowing best practices related to using them. And maybe another question is, it sounds like you're investing in playlists a little bit, but have they kind of been forgotten and maybe they're getting remembered by YouTube? Not that they were ever forgotten, but I think creators, how effective is it? That's maybe my question. Is it worth a creator's time to learn, study, utilize, and maximize playlists on their channel?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think like it also wouldn't necessarily take that much time. So for example, like one of the most effective calls to action you can do on a video is not like, not subscribe, not join my, like all those things are fine. But if you're at the end of a video and you say, hey, if you love this video, here's the deep dive, or here's the bird's eye view, or here's like the second part you really need to know, and someone goes into that video and watches it. That could also be a custom playlist that that the people who love this video would also love not just the next video, but these 3 videos in the series. Like to go back to your earlier question about like episodes, like you have like, this is like the engineering of this airplane. And like airplane nerds are going to just love to watch like that whole sequence of airplanes. You can put that in the playlist. And when you say click here, there's a chance that they're going to watch all the way through there. And that's 2, 3, 4 more videos in their watch list. And that's something that, like, when you look at the algorithm, which is tuned for satisfaction, that's a huge indicator. If someone's willing to watch 3 or 4 of your videos, they're probably like highly satisfied with your content. So it's all these little, even small things like if you do a bunch of collabs, having a collab playlist that you then surface on your channel page. And maybe people don't go to your channel page a lot, but that it's really good credentialing for you. And when they land there, they can see, oh, wow, this person's been a guest on all these other shows or done all these other collabs. And podcasts now are based on playlists. Like you make a playlist, you assign it to podcast, you add some album art. Like there's just a lot of functionality, I think, that's buried in there. And I think, like, to your point, there are people who love them, like power playlist users, but a lot of people, I think, haven't really looked at them much. And we're hoping that by introducing new and fun features, people just take a look at the entire like range of possibilities there.
And is the difference between playlists and this new feature of episodes on television, seasons and episodes, is simply the difference basically the TV viewing experience, or what else?
Yeah, I think the TV is just presenting in a way that makes sense when people are like familiar with how television works, and especially like how linear or streaming television works.
Got it. So 2 things to kind of get updated with, and let us know. Really, the only place on the podcast you can comment is if you watch the video version on YouTube. But if you would like perhaps a deeper dive strategy video about playlist best practices in the future, and what other questions do you have about YouTube? You can always rate and review the podcast wherever you listen, but heading over to the YouTube version to comment, perhaps Renee will join us in the future and we could have a deeper dive conversation about all kinds of things. But as we land the plane, we do have 12 viewer updates. Number 4, playlist voting coming later this year. Vote on videos with collaborative playlists. Number 5, sleep timer. Set a timer to automatically pause videos, preventing accidental all-nighters with YouTube playing. Number 6, collect badges for milestones like channel memberships, quiz completion, and top listener status. Explain that. Who's collecting the badges? So we're viewers, so we can get badges, kind of gamification for our favorite channels.
Yes. Yeah, exactly that. Like maybe I get my comment is like the most liked comment, or I was like right there on the ground floor when you started your membership. Like things like that. We just want to recognize it because it helps viewers feel like a greater bond to what they're doing on YouTube.
And what's quiz completion?
There's quizzes on YouTube. So if you go and take those quizzes, and you complete them, you'll get a badge as well. It just sort of it's just recognition for doing fun things on YouTube.
And that's on YouTube, period. Because I see those quizzes, but a lot of times they're not creator related that I've noticed. And it could be did you enjoy that last video? So it's a satisfaction quiz. But sometimes it's about my experience. Because what we're talking about is just the viewer experience on the platform in general. So this is one way that would work is YouTube's saying, hey.
Those we call surveys. So we distinguish those. Those are surveys and we use those to help determine the satisfaction of the viewer. But these are just for quizzes, with questions about things like popular culture or those kinds of quizzes that you might see.
I don't know if I've seen a quiz.
Quizzes is just a feature we've rolled out. You should be able to create some and put them. It's probably in the posts tab. I think it's
I suppose if it's a poll, we do polls all the time. Community tab poll, but that'll be interesting to dig deeper because so we have the difference between surveys determining viewer satisfaction. That's what I was referencing. You're talking about quiz completion, could be a community tab, and there could be an evolution there to pay attention to. Okay, so that was number 6, YouTube badges. Number 7, a fresher look for TV with a more cinematic feel and new pops of pink. Number 8, new shorts UI on TV. Interact with comments and shop without interrupting shorts playback. So we're talking about not just episodes earlier and some other updates to TV, but the user interface for shorts consumption on television is being updated. You can actually interact with comments on television is what it's saying here, right? And even do the shopping integration on television. Am I accurate here?
Yeah, I think interact, you'll be able to see them. I think if you want to interact, you're still better off doing it from your phone or doing it from your computer. But we want to have sort of a second screen experience. But if you just want to see, sort of if you just want to see the chat on a live stream, if you just want to see the comments next to the short, you'll be able to pull those up. The short keeps playing. You'll just see the comments along the side.
Got you. Okay, number 9, immersive channel pages on TV. Videos will autoplay when visiting a creator's channel on TV. Number 10, fine-tune playback speed. So now you'll be able to adjust playback speed into 0.5 increments instead of just 1x, 2x, or -1, -2.
Yeah, 0.05. So you'll be able to get real fine grained. If you're someone I can understand at 0.5, but I can't at 2, but maybe I can go in the middle of those and maybe a little bit more this way. So just much more fine. And it'll remember your most common speed so you can get to those quickly.
As a side note, I think that the value of this podcast too is thinking about how creators can benefit. And I would assume that most listeners are already taking advantage of adjusting speeds for their audiobooks, for their YouTube consumption, their video podcast consumption. But maybe others haven't thought about this. And I think this could be a great strategy. Even the natural conversation of some video podcasts is nice, sometimes a little bit slower, and 2x is not a big deal. And you get through it quicker and you gather that information. Some YouTube videos, 2x takes it too crazy. And so the granular increments is nice depending on the form of the content. And so that's a really cool update that is coming. Number 11, improved landscape browsing. coming to iOS later, larger thumbnails and text for easier browsing in landscape mode. And then 12, simplified visuals, a cleaner look across YouTube to help users focus on content. Those are all us as viewers consuming content updates. And I know YouTube's always making changes. Is there anything else top of mind that I missed?
No, I think you nailed it there. I think like the whole idea here was these are some of the most requested features from viewers over the last year, and we just wanted to make sure that we're always continuing to push the YouTube experience and make it better, more enjoyable, more fun, more educational, more entertaining for viewers.
Well, this really has been the ultimate guide of new features and updates as we go into 2025. Renee, we're super grateful for you. If people want to follow you, connect with you, what's kind of the rundown of resources so they can follow you as well as YouTube channels for creators that they can continue to get the latest information and news?
Yeah, so I'm at YouTube Liaison pretty much everywhere. So whatever platforms you use, go to @YouTube Liaison and you'll find me. And we also do a lot of videos. We have a regular podcast with YouTube's Chief Product Officer, as well as a bunch of different YouTube executives on the Creator Insider channel.
Amazing. Well, Think Media Podcast, subscribe, like, share wherever you listen and connect. And I can't wait to see you in a future episode. This is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. And this has been the Think Media Podcast. 9% of creators, views alone won't pay your bills. In today's economy, the YouTube game has fundamentally changed. While millions chase viral moments and subscriber counts, most will never turn those vanity metrics into actual income. The algorithm shifts, ad rates fluctuate, and suddenly that video with hundreds of thousands of views barely covers your coffee budget. I've personally worked with creators who hit millions of views but can't afford to pay their rent, and other creators that are making 6 and 7 figures a year with modest view counts. What's the difference? These high-earning creators understand the YouTube business bridge. And in today's episode of the Think Media Podcast, I'm going to be sharing the 3-part framework for how to actually make big money on YouTube, even if you have a small view count. You'll learn why a lot of top creators actually don't chase viral fame and what they focus on instead. Plus, how to position your channel for sustainable success, even when your view count is down. Let's get started. So let's dive into session number 1. We have such cool stuff coming up. There's going to be a lot of business breakthroughs, a lot of opportunity for Q&A, breaking things down on the whiteboard, but there's going to be some foundational sessions. And I do want to kick it off with our first session that'll kind of tie a theme of our whole 1.5 days together and talk about the YouTube business bridge, the strategic path to impact and profit. And, if you've been a part of our program, VRA and VRA Accelerator, then you'll be familiar with our system. I know we have some new people. Thank you for just jumping into the event. And, one of our favorite quotes is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And we're going to be talking about our 7-step system all event, always going back to the 7R system. And today, though, specifically, we're going to be talking about a specific framework for this room. And it's the YouTube Bridge Framework, Views, Leads, and Sales. We're going to identify your biggest opportunities, fix your weakest links, and then map your next 5 to 10 priority actions. So in this session, that's what we're going to want to do. And then after a session like this, you'll be maybe taking some notes, making some notes. There'll be some discussion and a chance to really process. And what we're asking ourselves kind of all event is, hey, what do I need to fix next? Not just what is all the things to do. There's so much opportunity on YouTube, shorts, all these different things. But what is the next most strategic move for me and my business? But as we dive into this session, I think about there is so much opportunity on YouTube right now, but there's also some specific challenges and specific challenges in online business in general and social media in general. If we did this survey a while back and we asked people what's happening on your channel, 26% of people were saying my views were down, some 17% saying my views were up, 20% saying about the same, and then some people haven't started. And so we are seeing a few challenges happening. There is organic reach decline. We're going to be able to overcome every single one of these challenges, but it's true. Sometimes YouTube isn't there's more competition. Views are more distributed across channels. Economic challenges, content overload, figuring out how to stand out is more important than ever before because there's more stuff to watch than ever before, more creators than ever before. Engagement shifts where people's attention is. Technology shifts, AI coming in, and all these different things. And so Gary Vaynerchuk at our last summit actually said that the current landscape of social media requires more rigor. And over the next couple days, we're going to get really geeky. Like, what does rigor mean? It means like more attention to detail on titles and thumbnails, more attention to detail in our scripting, more thoughtful about our strategy, more work being put into things. Can we overcome challenges? We absolutely can. But it's like it used to work if you played just checkers on YouTube. Now we got to be playing chess, more strategy, more thoughtful about what are our next moves, what is our sequencing going to be. And so the biggest mistake 99% of people make on YouTube that I see when it comes to the fact that the algorithm can be up and down and views can be up and down is actually chasing views. Now, I know that all of us are here for views. Like, how do we get the most views? How do we go viral? How do we do those things? But I think that if we are fixed on views only, we're always gonna have a roller coaster life on YouTube, or that ultimately we can stay stuck on YouTube. What I've learned and what we're gonna be talking about over these days is that clients are better than clicks. Like, at the end of the day, getting views or getting someone even to click on a link, it's one thing, but actually getting a client, like somebody joining your business, your offer, your program. And you might say, Sean, I don't have any of that yet. But more than clicks, I want to get clients. Like, let's get real business happening. In fact, if I don't get a lot of views, but I get a client, then I'm going to be way happier with the client than with views. Quality is better than crowds. There is a temptation to want to get the biggest numbers possible. I was talking with one of our mastermind attendees right before the session, and he made a pivot in his content from something that was a little bit more broad appeal that got a lot of views. And it's natural that the views would go down if you get something that's going to attract a different audience. But the question is, do we want to reach the crowds, or do we want a quality community, quality customers, quality group that we're building? Like, what ultimately are we building? Customers are greater than clout. Now, again, these maybe aren't everybody's philosophy, but this would be the philosophy we want to lay as a foundation. Do we just want kind of a following? One of my favorite quotes is, leaders create other leaders. They don't create more followers. Like, what's our goal? I mean, do we just want to reach the masses? Well, then at least we know our strategy. Or do we want to reach customers or a deep community? In fact, faithful fans are greater than fleeting fame. If you made it in the room, you're familiar with the 1,000 true fans concept. You get a real ride or die group of people that are following you, not just subscribers, but people that really love you, want to do business with you. You get the right people in a small community following you. Seth Godin talks about this concept of what is the smallest viable audience for your business. It's worth thinking about. Like, what's actually the minimum number of customers for the offer I would create that would give me a business that's sustainable, so that from there I could build whatever I feel called to build next. Because everyone's chasing the fame or the clout or the crowds or the clicks, when if we have some ride or dies and quality and customers and faithful fans. And so to do this, we're going to be working through a framework called the YouTube Bridge Framework. And where we can sometimes find ourselves is alone on an island without clothing, like Castaway, Tom Hanks, of like, man, no subscribers, or like, trying to get views, trying to make things work. And we're going to be going through a process of how to get to not just ultimately YouTube growth, but money for the mission. Like, a sustainable business is why we're in this room. Yes, we'll talk about views, and we are always coming from a purpose-driven place, but at the end of the day, your purpose is going to die out real quick if you don't have the finances to fund it. And so what we would call this would be the YouTube Bridge Framework. And what I like to think about here is, again, where are you right now? And think about that for yourself personally. Where are you? in your business? Where's your channel? What's just the current state of things? Good leadership I heard from, I think Jim Rohn talked about, or actually be a Napoleon Hill thing. It says, success starts with accurate thinking and an assessment of like, really, where are you? Where are you right now? What's the situation in your business? Where are you right now? And then, where do you want to go? That's what do you need? If you could get from here to here, what's the amount of monthly revenue that you need in your business? And you could go full time. I had a few conversations with individuals here at the Mastermind. I'm working full time right now. I want to be able to live this online dream, build my online business and do it full time. Well, how much is that going to cost? And then what's the impact that you want to make? Where are you and where do you want to go? Well, the 3 steps that are in the YouTube framework are this. Number 1, views. So over the next couple days, we're going to be talking about, okay, how do we get views on YouTube and how do we get the right views? In online marketing, you call this traffic. Like if nobody knows you, the next step's not going to help. And we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff, but of course it comes back and we'll have sessions on like how do we get more views on our channel? Even subscribers. I know we want subscribers, but like you might even notice, Think Media is over 3 million subscribers now. Older channels that have gotten subscribers over many, many years, people have subscribed to your channel, but they don't even log into YouTube anymore. So subscribers are great, but you actually need present views right now from the right people. So we're going to need views. The next thing we're going to need, if we're going to complete the bridge across from where you are to where you want to go, is going to be leads. Leads. We have to translate people from watching our content to building our owned audience. Is anybody here building an email list? Raise your hand. So 20% of the room, you're thinking about this. You're building a newsletter. You're building an email list. Now, sometimes that is the overemphasized way of doing it, and I think that's what we should be doing. I think it's email marketing, and email is so important. But when I say leads, it might be that you're getting phone numbers. It might be that you're building a Facebook group. It might be that you're building a Discord. The bottom line is that algorithms can be fickle, and we need to be able to build our audience off platform, which then the next thing we need to generate would be sales. That we translate in this whole process, how are you going from YouTube into a sales process to some sort of offer that you have? Now, there might be some open questions we have, like, well, I don't have an offer yet, or I don't even know if that's right for my business. Well, there's all kinds of business models on YouTube. Brand deals, ad revenue, affiliates, and we could touch on all of those. But it would be my deep conviction that we need to, at some point, create our own offer and productize in some way that we would have a sustainable business so that we can weather any storm on YouTube. We want to be unbreakable. I think we could be recession-proof. And in doing so, we're going to need views, leads, and sales to do so. But here's where the challenge comes with the YouTube Bridge framework and what I've learned personally in my life, and really that's probably been the mistake I've made over and over and over again, is when I find myself on this island over here, I'm dreaming big. I'm kind of unhappy because I'm not where I want to be yet, but I've got big dreams. I got big ideas. I want to do this over here, and I'm thinking about my YouTube channel. When I find myself on this island, I find that the biggest thing that can happen for me is getting distracted and starting to chase shiny objects. And so who here has a lead magnet or something like that? You have an idea for building it. That'd be like a free ebook or a checklist or something like that, but it's not done. Anybody? You got a couple that are not done. So what's your lead magnet?
Just an ebook.
You're gonna do an ebook.
Yeah, I want to do.
You want to do an ebook? Have you started it? Yeah. You started kind of a framework. So, okay, so what happened? Okay, so I can relate to that. And I've done the same thing. I think back when I started getting a vision for doing YouTube, for me, I was mainly focused on YouTube and views, which is where a lot of people focus. It's a great place to be, right? We all want the views. And we might know we need these other things. And you mentioned ebook. And so we might start building, you kind of build a little bridge here, you know? And but it's not done, so it's kind of just out there. And we got an ebook, which would be our lead thing. Okay, how about who here is building out an offer of some kind? You're building an online course. Raise your hand. It's not done. Keep your hand raised. Awesome. And of course we're going to be in process. So I'm not trying to shame anybody. We're all in the same boat here, right? But it's like, okay, so then we also have like this over here, but it's kind of, is your online course, does it look like this? There's like missing pieces of concrete. It's kind of, it's really sketchy and it's just out there. So, okay, you got your course. Who here is trying to grow multiple social media platforms at once? Raise your hand. You're trying to grow multiple social media platforms, not just YouTube. All right, yeah, I'm the same. So some of us, then we're trying to get views, but it's not just YouTube views, right? But we got, you see somebody on Instagram, you're like, man, Instagram would be a great place to get leads, and it is. But we start trying to do Instagram. And so we got that going. What else would you say, different things maybe you've been working on? Anybody have shiny object syndrome? Stuff that's like kind of half done projects? Yeah, you raise your hand. What, is there anything that you've been working on? Maybe you're doing a couple different things. You're working on your website, YouTube channel, lead magnet, course. Yes, she says, yes. Okay. So are you seeing what I'm talking about here? So now we're kind of trying to build a website, which is also, that kind of be like a place to capture our views or our leads and our sales. We got our website. Is anybody seeing the problem? And can anybody relate? We've got like this idea of, okay, I'm here, and I want to get to this goal of having like not just some income, but sustainable income. I want to get over here, but I'm trying to do all these different bridges and none of them are complete. And the really sad part about it is that sometimes it's like you start doing Instagram for a while, or even you do YouTube for a while, right? And so people start coming into your world and they're pumped. They're driving, they're like on this destination with you. But what's about to happen? Yeah. People are drowning. You're like, wow, that got dark. Jeez. So, and even on YouTube though, because who here, you do have a lead magnet, you have like a landing page set up, but you would be honest and you're willing to raise your hand and say, Sean, when I think about it, I know that it sucks. It's really bad. Raise my. Yeah, your landing page sucks. You could write that, right? Okay, exactly. So you got the views, but they get here, and then sure enough, maybe a few people make it through, but couple hundred, couple thousand views. But how many deaths on that journey? And if you've got the leads and they make it through your landing page and they download your thing, how many people got stuck in junk mail? How many people got stuck in spam? How many people didn't even find the thing? All right, they make it to your offer, like your checkout page, the experience with purchasing your offer. If they even really, is your offer really dialed in? Is it really irresistible and aligned to your audience? Is it actually aligned with one YouTube bridge, or is it is it such a perilous, snaky ride through here that like the amount of people, you could have 1,000 start here, you could have 1 million start here, but the amount of people that make it here, there's only a few stragglers There's so much dangers and peril on the bridge that their car's all beat up by the time they make there, right? Because our thing's kind of broken, our checkout process isn't working. So our goal here at this particular 1.5 days is to work on this entire process. And then for your business to think about getting, honestly, one bridge built. And here's what I've learned, that even if you've got one right now, and that would be that who here, full participation, you're creating content, you have a way to capture leads and bring them into a sales process, and your sales process is actually working, and like the Stripe money is coming through or PayPal money is coming through, raise your hand, the whole process does work. Awesome. So by the way, look around with some of the people you're meeting here as well, because iron sharpens iron. Like, what do you use? You know, like, what's your software? How does this stuff work? Because once you get this thing duct taped together for the first time ever, that's a huge feat. But what I've also learned is that even once it's put together, sometimes the temptation is to move on to something else, when ultimately going back and improving it, maybe reinforce the structure to handle more traffic, more people. How can I improve that part of the process? And oftentimes, what we think is the broken thing, I just need more subscribers, I need more views, I need a bigger channel, may not actually be our biggest issue. It's these other pieces of the bridge that often are the struggle point.
Are you a business owner or serious content creator that is struggling to crack the YouTube code? Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated with slow growth? If so, then our new one-on-one coaching program at viralvideocoach.com is your premier ticket to YouTube success. Becoming the authority in your niche, attracting engaged leads and loyal customers. We offer one-to-one coaching with our YouTube experts that'll help you get results fast, and a supportive community that's cheering you on. So if you're ready to stop wasting time with trial and error and to stop leaving money on the table, then head to viralvideocoach.com to apply to see if you qualify for our coaching program. But heads up, this offer is not for everybody. It's only for serious content creators and entrepreneurs that are ready to take action. So if that's you, head to viralvideocoach.com to apply, or click the link in the show notes. All right, let's jump back into the episode.
And so here's a couple of steps as we break this down to of what we just talked about and what we're reviewing. Step one is get the right views. Get the right views. If we think about it, you know, someone's over here on, or we're here trying to get over to prosperity in our business and impact in our business, and we start getting a lot of views, and people make it onto the bridge across to the other island, only to realize that they're on the wrong bridge. Man, you can't turn around until you get to the other side. Like, oh, I'm distracted. You ever done? I mean, I've done that. I just think about, like, I missed that turn, when you miss that critical turn, and now it's 20, 25 minutes. Like, and so just getting views is what everybody's obsessed with, but we want to get the right views. And that's why when we start with our 7R framework, it's always reverse engineer first. It's start with the end in mind of who would be the right audience to attract for this whole bridge to work together. So here's a cool AI trick for getting the right views. Number one, who is your client? Number two, what are their problems and desires? And then what we want to do is just run that into AI to think about who could we attract, what content would we create to get the right views? Okay, so one volunteer. Yeah. Shout your name out. Joe. And your channel? The Married Life. And are you doing the leads and sales thing yet?
Yeah.
What is the offer, Joe?
I'm doing for views. We have 4 different free PDFs they can get. We have a free sex conversation starter, date night questions, 52 date night.
Did you say sex? Okay. I have to write that on the board? Okay, so you got 4 PDFs, sex. What else?
Date night questions.
What kind of channel is this? No, just kidding.
Date night, okay.
52 date night ideas.
Okay.
And then 3 T's of communication.
Okay, so we got 3 T's of comms, 52 date night ideas. Which one's the best one? Yeah, by far. All right. Man, Think Media Mastermind just got 0 to 100 real quick. Okay, so, and they all work? People download them?
Yeah.
And then where's it go?
So we use that for Kit, and so we get all the leads in the Kit, and from there we obviously gather their data to be able to email them and let them know about future events or products.
And what is the offer?
What do you mean?
What is the sales?
So that's where we are not at that yet. We have a course, but we haven't put it out on Sandcar or Circle yet.
Okay, so you've got the views and you've got the leads, but then you just a bunch of people are drowning and just carnage everywhere. Their sex lives are terrible. Well, and their marriages are like, people are being harmed right now. I mean, I'm sort of shaming you, but it's like, if we actually think about the impact and the difference we're making, I think there's something about feeling, of course you do, that's why you're here, but like the ethical responsibility of completing your bridge. Because it's like, how long have people been able to download your free stuff and get on your newsletter? How long you been building that?
Like 4 months now.
4 months? How often do you email people?
Weekly.
Okay, so you've been nurturing people.
Yeah.
So they're getting help. Yeah. Okay.
So weekly we send out our YouTube video that goes out. So we send out 2 videos a week, and then I also take that, put it in AI, and make it into a blog. So it's like bullet point.
Great. Who here is building your email list? Raise your hand. But you're not emailing them, and you haven't emailed them in a long time. Keep your hand up. Yeah, look at us, right? This is my, and I am you. Like this has been what I meant. I'm like, I know I need to build an email list. I'm building it. How many people on your list? 754. When's the last time you emailed them? I don't know. Haven't. Just cars, just everywhere, right? It's like you have the leads, but there's no guardrails, people driving off. Okay, so this is great. And building out the pieces of the bridge, this idea of getting the right views, let's just dive in here real quick to AI along with, and we'll be doing this throughout. Who here is using AI already to start brainstorming and stuff? We're going to be doing prompts the whole time. I think AI has changed the game for video creation. I'm using Claude here. We'll be using ChatGPT, Gemini. I like Claude. And we're going to be talking about getting the right views for we need to have one other question. What will the offer be? What's the course?
It's called the Blueprints of Marriage. And so it's like taking people on kind of like 10 steps that every marriage is going to like struggle with and deal with, whether it is communication, whether it's sex, whether it's forgiveness, whether it's finances, all those different areas.
How much?
I don't know yet.
And then target audience.
Our target audience is age 25 to 50, and they're obviously married. Christian couples, because it's Christian-based content.
And then what else is probably true about them that's unique to you from like a psychographic standpoint?
They want to strengthen their marriage. It's not necessarily people that are on the brink of divorce, but they're learned, like kind of like this. I want to get better, I just don't know what to do. And so people that are actually wanting to develop themselves.
Okay. So, great. All right, so we're trying to get the right views, and all of these questions are really powerful to feed into AI for coming up with video topics and ideas. So let's go for it. Hey, Claude. So I want to come up with a list of video ideas and topics. I have a channel that is targeting really 25 to 50-year-olds. They're married Christian couples. They're not necessarily on the brink of divorce, but they want to strengthen their marriage. They might be having some relationship issues. And ultimately, I want a lot of good topic ideas, but eventually I'm going to offer a free gift, which will help people with their sex life in marriage. And eventually, I'm going to offer a Blueprints of Marriage course. So I want to attract serious couples, and I'm looking for some 10 topics that would be broad appeal on YouTube to attract this group. All right, so we're going to start with get the right views, which is going to start with topics, and then we'll dial into title, and we'll go a little bit deeper in session 2. Communication secrets that transformed our marriage. Finding time for connection when life gets busy. Let me know which one of these you like the most. And I know you're already creating content, so you've probably created a lot of these. Faith-centered marriage, resolving conflict without damaging a relationship, rekindling romance after years together, resolving conflict without damaging your relationship. Yeah. Why? Resonates because you could talk about it? You think that's what they need? Okay. All right, so can you come up with 10 title ideas for number 4? I want to do resolving conflict, and I want the title to be SEO based, but also to be highly clickable, as broad as appeal as possible, but I do want to, again, attract the specific audience I want to reach as described in the previous prompt. All right, 5 conflict resolution techniques that saved our marriage. Stop fighting, start talking, a biblical approach to marriage conflicts. Let me know which one you like best. How to resolve any marriage argument in 15 minutes. That's pretty cool. That one's really good. All right, we could stop there. Was that helpful? Yeah. Any insights on that process? Is that kind of how you've been using AI, or is that kind of a...
Yes and no. I got to get better using it for coming up with the titles. But I have, like, again, just to your point, use AI. Like, hey, what are the top 10 things or 15 things that married couples struggle with? I want to break this down into, these conversations. But what we've seen, and Alex has done such great coaching us on this, even when I get ideas or Chrissy gets ideas or AI gives us ideas, the views that we get the most always have to do with sex.
Yeah.
Like, you've said that, sex sells. So it's like people want that. Because we'll put out stuff that I think is really strong for 15 minutes, how to dissolve, yeah, what is that answer? Where some people are like, I want to have better sex,
Yep.
Or I want her to engage in sex. I don't want to always be the one. And so, because we've had that conversation where she's like, I feel like we talk about sex too much. But Alex is great because he's like, but if this is what's getting the momentum for growth, you can still add in the other things, but maybe you are known more for that one.
Sure.
Topic.
Well, and absolutely. And again, the big key here as we keep going is all of us in this room, we need to know our ideal client. And did you hear their level of knowledge of their ideal client? Very good. There's greater depths that we can always go to. And what's cool about AI is the better information we feed into it, the better unique insights that we could get to find fresh perspectives and angles on what videos we could create. So that's going to be foundational, because if we're going to get the right views, and I know I'm just kind of verbally saying this, some of us are familiar with the 7R framework, but the first 2 R's in our 7R framework are reverse engineer. Who's our ideal client? What are their problems and desires? And then research, getting fierce clarity, because again, if this is right, but these are wrong, or we get a lot of people here, then it breaks down. But then also, right, as we go further, if there's no ultimate sales, you might say, man, we'd love to be making more money right now from our YouTube channel. Well, I'd probably point out one of the biggest problems would be a lack of an actual offer, because if you just complete that bridge, we're going to make it all the way across. I saw the hand.
I have a question about your opinion. So if he uses a title like that, and at the end says to have better sex.
Yeah.
At what point does that become too redundant? Using the same finish line? What's your opinion?
Yeah, so the question was, if he uses a title like the one that we used here and then just adds to have better sex at the end, I think that would be unnecessary. That would be fluff, in my opinion. You just have the chance, like, I think a mindset shift would be get comfortable with creating videos, create a lot of videos, and commit, like, and have endless content ideas and always be ranking them by the next one you should make. But we teach in VRA, like, one keyword phrase, one topic idea, one video. So don't try to force things together. Sometimes you might be like, oh, I kind of want to say 3 things in this video. Let me try to force it all in the title. Make 3 videos. Does that make sense? So if it's about sex, I'd go all in on that, but I wouldn't just try to, I mean, if you could spice it up and it's true, but it is interesting to say how to resolve any marriage argument in 15 minutes, a Christian perspective. Now, it would be, potentially, it would be much broader appeal to not say a Christian perspective. This is an interesting point because you might get more views, and that wouldn't be a bad thing. But if you know that eventually you're going to be selling a course to Christians, calling out your audience is a good thing. But it's discipline to actually sort of be saying, I'm going to get less views. If you're telling the algorithm who to show this to, and thus clarity of the YouTube Bridge framework is critical. You may be realizing I'm not chasing virality, I'm chasing the right views as principle number 1. Okay, so step 2, get leads from your videos. So one of the commitments I want all of us to make is to create your first lead magnet. What's a lead magnet? There's terms for it: freebies, giveaways. It is essentially free premium value, and it should be that. You should give away free valuable content on YouTube. That's what YouTube is. And then you should give even more valuable free content off of YouTube. Now, on screen is a list of possible lead magnet ideas. And this could be an ebook, a checklist, a white paper, a webinar, like a free web class. Chances are you've watched one of my web classes. A challenge is technically a lead magnet. 5 days, it's a lot of work. A calculator could be a lead magnet. It's anything you're giving in exchange for somebody's information. But the challenge that I want to, so number 1, I want you to create your first lead magnet. And while here, by the end of this event, identify what would be the best lead magnet for the bridge I'm trying to create. My second challenge to you is that if you already have one, I want you to assess if it's good or if it needs to be fixed. We're constantly asking ourselves, what do I need to fix next in my business? Does it need to be fixed or improved? My next challenge to you is if you have 4 or 13, like a lot of us might have, which should be eliminated or ignored. It's not a badge of honor to be like, I've got so much stuff going on. In some cases, it might be identifying what you should say no to. One of the things early on is I just kept adding, and this was my bridge problem. I'm working on writing an ebook that I want to give away free, and I'm working on a free mini course and a free 4 video series, and I've put out a lot of mediocre efforts and incomplete bridges, but I haven't completed something and done it at a world-class level. So even with your coach and over the next day and a half, we could be pulling up landing pages, looking at them, having somebody here go through it. Hey, yeah, let me try it. Hey, can you try to go through my process? They enter their name and email and nothing happens. I used to work at a place called Red Robin. It's a burger joint. They have free bottomless fries. And things would happen. One of our greatest fears as a server and as a waiter of tables is that one day we might get secret shopped. And then we'd be talking to other servers. They'd be like, do you think that's a secret shopper? Do you think they're asking you questions or seeing, did you offer them a refill? Did you offer them any upsells, dessert, all the stuff? Did you hit it all? So the powerful thing with secret shopping, though, is when was the last time you secret shopped yourself? And so our own bridges is like, yeah, I mean, I kind of got my landing page set up and, doesn't really work on mobile. And how's the email deliverability? Is there certain words in your emails that trigger things? Like, we're here to coach you through this whole thing, but what I have found is that getting this whole bridge complete, working, and then considering this, that maybe it's time for an expansion. There's so much traffic that's trying to get to the island. Let's add 2 more lanes. Let's do a construction project. Yet the temptation could be to try to build the next bridge instead of improving the one that we're on. And so we want to get leads from our videos and figure out where are we sending people. And again, we got some real estate agents in the room. You know, if that means like, hey, shoot me a text. I just spoke for the CEO Summit at Keller Williams this past Monday. And in my opinion, as a real estate agent, what would I want most? I think I just want the person to text me, because that's where the business is happening. Get their email, cool, that's fine. But I want them, I want to text me right now and let's start talking. We engage in text. Maybe DM, but here's a good question. What is the least friction path to make it through your bridge? There's sometimes things that we do that we didn't even realize. We're like, I just don't know why there's sales, why we aren't getting sales. And there's like a blockade, right? There's like literally blocks that have been set up because we've created friction of some kind, that it's like enter your email and go to the page, or the page is broken, which is, again, we're trying to fix those things. But like, how can I just make this as streamlined and as smooth as possible? Which brings us to step 3, which would be generate sales. Now, over the next couple of days, when you do affiliate marketing, you don't even need leads. If you can get really good at views with good calls to action and integration, it goes straight to sales. You can just compress the process. Problem with like affiliate marketing though, which has been a big piece of my story, is on Amazon, I get like 4%. When I created my own offer, especially a digital product, I get like 97%. It's better. I mean, I wasn't good at math, but like 97 is better than 4. And so what is your irresistible offer? And how does your sales process work? What is your irresistible offer, and how does your sales process work? And this is a challenging one, because just because we actually have the bridge completed, sometimes it's good to evaluate and actually say, does this need a total renovation? Does this just need some paint and some touch up, or does this need a total renovation? What part is actually maybe broken in this process? And so when we say, what do I need to fix next? It's like, maybe I actually need to fix who's my target audience, what's my vision, what am I actually building here? Maybe I need to really master the getting of views. But again, if I'm getting a lot of views, I don't know where they're going. Maybe I am getting people really interested in my lead magnet and wanting to improve their romantic life. And okay, so let me really dial in this offer. And what would be the best name? And what are people wanting? And could I send, how many people on the email list? Approximately.
Actually, 300.
300. Two ideas I would do. Number one, have you surveyed them? So could I, when I'm at the lead stage, survey and ask to get data about the exact things, problems they have in their marriage, things they would want, areas they want help, and the style they would want help in. Have AI be like, hey, I want to survey my 300 people. This is who they are. I want to create a course. What questions could I ask? I don't want it to be very long. Let's do it. Survey so that this will be a way to fix and improve or build for the first time. So I want to send a survey to my 300 people that are on my email list. They've downloaded our how to improve your sex life and marriage and their romantic life, date night ideas, things like that. But eventually I want to sell an online course. It may be called Blueprints of Marriage, but I'm not committed to that name because I want the best name possible. Now, again, my audience is 25 to 50-year-old married Christians, and I've got the 300 on the list. Can you just lay out a quick survey that I could send them? And I don't want it to be overwhelming, so it's not completed. So can you just, based on data, give me the best length of questions that I actually get the highest response rate, that would give me the insights that would help me produce the best digital product possible and give me language that I could use in marketing. And with tools like Typeform, you can get this up and running in like 10 minutes and email your people before lunch. And this would be multiple choice. What's your biggest challenge in marriage right now? Select 2, communication issues. This data is going to be powerful for all kinds of stuff. And then if you could improve one aspect of your marriage immediately, what would it be? Which format would you prefer for marriage improvement content? Video lessons, audio, interactive modules, text-based, live group coaching? What would make you most likely to invest in a marriage course? Which of these potential course names appeals to you? A couple different names. What price range would you consider reasonable for a comprehensive marriage course? Any other thoughts on what would make this course valuable to you? 7 questions only. Sweet spot. Typically yield 83 to 89% completion rates. Mix of multiple choice. Tells you exactly how to do it. Type that in. You could send that and tell us the results tomorrow at the mastermind. Powerful? Here's the second thing I would do. I would do a free Zoom call with anybody that wants to show up. When I was creating VRA, one of the first things I did pre-creating an offer was I developed a framework. The 7R framework wasn't pretty yet. It didn't, it was on paper. It wasn't even visual yet, but I wanted to test it with people. And so what I did was I DM'd people one by one and actually asked if I could do free coaching with them. Would you be willing to take your time to do free coaching with me? I know you want to do YouTube to see if my stuff works. In exchange, if it works and you're willing, for a video testimonial before I even started. So if you got on Zoom, built some relationships, you're starting to create a beta group immediately. But if you also record those calls, the way they say things, the words they use could all be put into your marketing. Pretty powerful. And so what is your irresistible offer? Some of what we just talked about there is how we could be workshopping our irresistible offer. Or you might be thinking right now, like, I do have an offer, but I don't know if it's that irresistible. I mean, again, like, it's like a wooden, bridge from an Indiana Jones movie from the Leeds over to the island. Like, I don't know if anyone's even gonna make it across that thing compared to what it could be by improving the offer, refining the offer, thinking about what it is, dialing in price, things to tweak, and then how does your sales process work? And then how fluid is that entire experience? And so this is the YouTube Bridge framework. And there is really trying to make it as simple as possible, but I think you see that it's really just 3 things. It's views, leads, and sales. And my challenge to you is to get one bridge, one working, and to go back to that bridge and get it improved before expanding, because I think there's a lot of power in that. As we get ready to transition, I'm reminded of the story of Steve Jobs when he came back to Apple in 1997. And by this time, with his absence, they had gotten to a place where they just had added like hundreds of different product lines. And so the company had become really complex and all these different things that were happening. And he was famous. He came in for slashing it down to like 4 products, just cutting everywhere. And it really made me think of the YouTube Bridge framework. Like, obviously at that time, Apple was already generating millions. They had a big business. But I have fallen into the same trap at the beginning of my business, in the middle, and I still fall into the same trap today. Like all the way back in 2014, my wife and I were living in Irvine, California, in an apartment right by Irvine Spectrum. And I was a campus pastor at a church at the time. But I wanted to start building out side income. One reason was because my salary at the church was about $72,000, and because I opted out of Social Security and got a housing allowance as a pastor clergy. They said it was an equivalent of 80, whatever that means. And so cost of living to live comfortably in Irvine, California is about 125, they say, is what's needed to live there. So my motivation for side hustle was just to like keep us at like a water level and try to rise beyond that for our finances. And so at this time, I'm making YouTube videos, and I had money coming in from affiliate marketing. I had money coming in from ad revenue, but it's like 50 and 100, and I do some freelance projects, and I love that stuff. Like, I know that if you made it into this room, you're an ambitious, you've probably done a lot of things, different side hustles, you've done all that kind of stuff. It's all helpful because it's learning, but it's random, right? And what I did not have is I did not have the views lead sales thing. Well, from the power of investing in mentorship, which you already know is the most powerful thing you can invest in. And at this time, I discovered someone named Chalene Johnson, and she started talking about even the power of building an email list. And I was like, maybe I should do that. So I remember I was like, I need a lead magnet. And I had written one random chapter for my friend Phil Cook for his book about social media. So at least it was fast. I was like, well, I already wrote something, and there was no AI in these days, right? So I like saved it as a PDF and like put it up on a page, but it was terrible. Like it was so bad. I mean, I had like nothing. And so I was making some videos, and I was kind of sending it to that lead magnet. I did another thing called YouTube for Churches. It's actually a good idea, but put out some videos, but it didn't really go anywhere. I remember I did give away a free video series. And maybe it actually did go somewhere. I wrote an ebook, and the ebook was $7. And so by sending people to that, it was good. It was an offer, but it wasn't an offer at a scale big enough to generate any kind of revenue, or I didn't have the next thing. And so I remember I was trying to run my Facebook page, and I was trying to run my YouTube channel, and I was building this YouTube for Churches thing, and I was building the Get Noticed thing, and all of that. And it made me think of Steve Jobs. That like even at the beginning, when I had no right to be doing 36 different things, like I was still chasing a lot of stuff. And so that was the campus pastor days. And then eventually though, that even once we got established, I think about, we started having some success. And we do launch Video Ranking Academy after I learned how to rank videos and generate a 6-figure income off YouTube and ranking videos and talking about tech as well as some other niche products. Start teaching what I know in a program that a lot of you have been through. And after a couple years into Video Ranking Academy, we added another program called Inner Circle. Kind of cool. In fact, it got to $25,000 a month. It was a membership program. Now, I'm a small town kid, college dropout. When I thought about making, like, if I hit 6 figures, like, it was the vision I had growing up in Arlington, Washington. And so when we had this $25,000 a month Inner Circle program, and that's how much money was coming in, what I started to realize, though, was that the bridges were hard to maintain, and it was actually a distraction, a $25,000 a month distraction. And sure enough, even though, again, depends on where your business is at, and that's the point of the interaction here, we sunsetted it, we shut it down, and I want to say we maybe done 1,000 or 2 units of VRA previous years up to that. The next year we did 5,000 units of our core offer, of our one bridge. That's over $5 million in revenue of that one offer from actually shutting down the distraction. So if you're at the midpoint in your business, you already have some things going. My challenge to you is, do you need to shut down or slow down, what it is? So here's our goal. You don't need multiple bridges or dozens of offers. What is one complete bridge from views to sales that actually works? One core offer that transforms lives. One clear path that generates sustainable revenue. And you can just screenshot this. I think we've hit it pretty hard. But 12 reasons your business isn't growing. You're building half bridges everywhere. You got views, but they're not turning into business. Your lead magnet puts people to sleep. Your sales process is a maze. You're chasing viral instead of valuable. Your offer isn't irresistible, it's invisible. You keep changing direction. You're treating YouTube like a lottery ticket. You're building without a blueprint. Your bridge collapses under pressure. You're stuck in feast or famine, or your checkout process is broken. So here's your next move. And Brian, I think you can help us into, discussions or whatever. But let's journal. Let's talk about it. Identify your biggest constraint. For you, what's the missing piece? What's the choke point? What's the weakest link? And if you were, I want you to keep a running list of your next priority actions. Don't overthink it. It might change, but be thinking, because you might re-rank them. When I really think about it, the thing I need to fix next is this. So what you just listened to was a recording from one of our recent Think Media Masterminds that happens a few times each year in Las Vegas, where we get together with all of the Think Media coaches and myself to work on your YouTube channel and really your online business. And actually, if you want to learn a little bit more about that, just go to viralvideocoach.com. Those masterminds are a feature and they're a part of our Video Reiki Academy Accelerator program. And if you go to the website or click the link in the show notes, actually, you're just going to find an application there because this program isn't right for everybody. But if you're somebody who is serious about your YouTube growth and using YouTube to generate views, leads, and sales for your online business, or you're a creator and you want to figure out how to build a bigger business, you've been chasing views, you've been kind of falling into the trap of getting maybe a lot of views, but really having not a full bank account, then this program might be right for you. And all it is an application. We only work with people that we're a good fit for. So if that sounds interesting to you and you'd love to learn more about our one-on-one coaching program, just go to viralvideocoach.com or click the link in the show notes. Now, if you got value out of today's episode, it means the world if you like, rate, review, or share wherever you watch or listen. Shout out to our audio family on the Think Media podcast. And if you're on YouTube, I'd love to know any questions or feedback that you have in the comment section. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and I cannot wait to connect with you in a future episode.
Start your summer off right this Memorial Day weekend with free treats for the whole fam at Bob's Discount Furniture. You can save big and style your summer staycation with the season's hottest styles, Consumer Reports, recommended mattresses, decor, and more, all available with flexible financing to fit your budget and fast, friendly delivery. Oh my Bob. So come down or visit mybobs.com and save big this Memorial Day weekend.
There is a lot of bad advice on how to grow on YouTube out there. And it's not just ineffective, it actually could be hurting your channel's growth. Today, I'm going to be exposing 10 of these so-called expert tips that could be killing your momentum. Over the past decade, I've tested hundreds of different YouTube strategies. I've watched thousands of creators succeed and fail. And in the process, I've identified the bad advice that is holding creators back. So here are 10 pieces of horrible YouTube advice so you can do the opposite and reach your YouTube goals faster than ever before. Number one, be authentic and the success will come. So there's been this massive authenticity movement on YouTube where people are claiming that if you'll just be yourself, then the success will come. And I'm a big proponent of being real and relatable in your content, the power of vulnerability. But if your content lacks strategy and it lacks structure and it lacks excellence and planning, then you're going to continue to struggle. Imagine you were boarding a plane on your way to a destination vacation, and you had the choice between two pilots. Pilot number one was highly skilled and trained, and pilot number two was really relatable and authentic. Which pilot do you want flying the plane? For me, I'm choosing skill and training every single time, and I don't even care if they're authentic or not. My point is, passion and personality matter for sure, but expertise, research, and effort are the key to creating real impact on YouTube. But this one gets a little tricky because you've probably noticed that there are creators that are getting crazy amounts of views from shooting very stripped down videos, just kind of talking head, or maybe they're sitting in their car and it's like a car confessional where they're riffing on a topic or jumping on a trending topic. And the truth is, those videos can do well, And there is an opportunity in what some people are calling YouTube easy mode. Some of those creators might have a breakout video or two, but where are they over 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? I think one of the things we have to be aware of in today's YouTube environment is that people have a lot of choices. So imagine somebody looking for information and they have 2 different choices on YouTube. The first creator spent 2 hours on the content and the second creator spent 20 hours on the content. The first creator, they just kind of got a brief idea of what they wanted to say. They hit record, no editing. They talked through the topic of the video and then they uploaded it and posted it. Cool. Now here's the thing. Sometimes those videos pop off. Sometimes a quick and dirty video, raw, quick, shot, posted, can actually get hundreds of thousands of views. That absolutely happens. But then compare it to the second creator who took 20 hours to plan out the video, put some structure in there, shoot some extra B-roll and clips, put it all together in editing, especially if it's educational, put more research and testing into the product or the thing they were going to teach, and then put that out on YouTube. Which one's going to be more impactful? Which one's going to be more memorable? And which one has the greatest chance of succeeding in the long term? The bad advice is that just being real and just being authentic is enough on YouTube. The winning formula is, of course, both. Number 2, post every day on YouTube and eventually you'll win the YouTube lottery. With all the different live stream and coaching that we do here at Think Media, we get a lot of feedback from creators. And every once in a while, I'll see people in the comments or I'll see them in one of our groups or our challenges, and they'll be flexing on how many videos they post. They're like, I post 7 times a week. I post every single day, bro. And why I actually think it's commendable that you're putting in that much hustle and that much effort, quantity does not equal quality. And the danger is you may burn out before seeing results. And what's fascinating about some of this bad YouTube advice is there's some truth in it. Like the more you post on YouTube, the more chances, the more at-bats you have of hitting the right video on the right topic at the right time and triggering the algorithm. But just trying to win the YouTube lottery is a bad strategy. We've all heard the phrase, you need to work smarter, not just harder. And I think that really applies here. Being more intentional, strategic, and perhaps reducing the amount of uploads and increasing how much strategy and energy and effort goes into each video. For example, here at the Think Media Podcast, we talk about ranked videos all of the time. What is a ranked YouTube video? Well, it's a video that you post today that keeps getting views for weeks, months, and years to come. It might be being found in YouTube search, or it might continue to be suggested by the YouTube algorithm. The key is just one well-crafted ranked video can outperform dozens of mindless rushed YouTube videos. Now you might be wondering, how exactly do I create a ranked video that keeps getting views for weeks, months, and years to come? And I'm actually going to be teaching our 7-step process in an upcoming challenge that's 5 days long. It's entirely free. If you go to tube1kchallenge.com or just click the link in the show notes to register, you can learn more about that. The third piece of bad YouTube advice is wait until you have the perfect camera and the perfect YouTube studio before starting. Of course, the truth is the best camera to have is the one you already do have and that you're actually filming and posting videos with. Great content wins over fancy gear. Hear me out. I heard a leadership coach say one time, complexity is the enemy of execution. And I thought about that. And I thought, man, that is so true when it comes to creating content. You know, I'm recording this podcast sitting here in my home office, and I've got like 3 cameras, a Rodecaster Pro, microphones, cables. My cable management under my desk is so embarrassing and is an absolute nightmare. And what I've found is that I've got a PC that I built out and had to like rebuild, and it has a capture card in it, and every day like it might work, it sometimes doesn't work, and sometimes I'm capturing different video podcasts and the frame rate's wrong, and then I play it back and the audio sync is drifting, and I'm like, even though I'm a tech expert, I'm the camera guy. Like, I will also encourage you to level up your gear. What I've learned is that keeping it simple helps you be more productive. Complexity is the enemy of execution. A good piece of content that adds value to the audience that you want to reach, that's posted on YouTube, that's good enough, and that's actually shared with the world is going to make a lot more impact than hours of footage that is stuck on a hard drive and you're trying to figure out how to edit it and you're trying to actually get it all the way from where you thought about it to actually being posted. For example, here is a simple content creator kit. Smartphone plus the app CapCut. I'm pretty much certain that if you're listening to this, your smartphone films in at least high definition, probably 4K. It's got a great video camera. It's got good enough audio. And if you use an app like CapCut, you can actually make your smartphone videos pretty amazing, pretty easy. And I get it. Tech can kind of be overwhelming and video editing has a learning curve, but just put some time into it. Put a few minutes into it. You'll get the hang of it. Stop waiting for the perfect setup. Use what you have and start creating. Number 4, follow what the big YouTubers do and you'll grow like them. The truth is, what works for Mr. Beast or Alex Hormozi won't necessarily work for you. Consider that they have years of experience, they've got huge budgets and capital to spend on their content, and they've got teams that are helping them make every video. Comparing yourself to other big YouTubers or to one of your competitors that's ahead of you is unrealistic and probably unhelpful. I heard John Acuff say, never compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. However, I do think we could take this one a little bit deeper and find some growth opportunities. For example, studying where they are today has some value, but the real power is in studying where they started. For example, if you look at Alex Hormozi, who talks about business and entrepreneurship on YouTube, if you look at where he's at today, his videos are super fancy. He's built a big content team. He's got some really creative, almost theatric type of business videos, but that's not where he started. He started filming on what is the equivalent of like a baked potato. Like it was like a webcam in a dark room, in a dark closet. And he would sometimes just do talking head videos or film essentially Zoom quality tutorials or PowerPoints, yet those are what helped him get to where he is today. And our goal here is to distill down why was the individual successful. And the reason he was successful was because of the frameworks he was teaching. It was also because of the results he had gotten in business before he started teaching about business. And so if you find a model like that, you say, okay, for me to emulate Alex Hormozi, maybe I need to go get results in business first before I start teaching about business. Or maybe I need to refine my original ideas, frameworks, my proprietary process, how I communicate, because it's not about the camera quality or the production value, especially initially for his success. It was about the information that he was delivering and the results it got for people. Now consider Mr. Beast. Imitating what he's doing now is ridiculous. Like he literally spends millions of dollars on individual YouTube videos. And I know his staff extends to other brands like Feastables and other business brands, but I think he has like 500 staff. But you can still learn from him. How did he start? Well, he started early on with charity content, taking whatever money he had and filming out and about and giving that money away. He started with some kind of stunt challenge videos, which were just ridiculous, like saying Logan Paul thousands of times in an ultra long video. But the production value wasn't super crazy. It wasn't because he had a good studio. And I don't even really know what the point of that video is, but it worked and it was original and it was unique. And so it wasn't because he had a big staff or a big budget. It was because of his creativity. YouTube will reward you for good ideas. YouTube will reward you for creativity. And so when I think about the bad advice of just do what the big YouTubers do and you'll be successful, there actually is quite a bit of truth to that because success leaves clues. I think the key is we're looking for the patterns, the mindsets, and the principles these individuals applied at the different stages of their journey. No matter where you are today, I believe you can make progress and grow on YouTube. It's never about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness. And so one idea that might be helpful and that could give you an unfair advantage before we get to the next point is don't just study big creators, study their beginnings. 99% of people won't do this research. Go back to where they started, try to extrapolate and find those principles, and then apply those to the content that you're creating today. Number 5, click-through rate is the most important metric metric on YouTube. While it is true that click-through rate is very important, it's really only half of the battle. Now let's all get on the same page as far as what we're talking about here. CTR, or click-through rate, is the percentage of people that click on your video if they see it somewhere. They see it on the homepage, they search for it, they scroll past it. And so if your video got 100 impressions, that means they see it on some surface on YouTube and they have a chance to click on it, and it had a 10% click-through rate, then it would get 10 views. 10 people would click on it and then watch the video. And so this is influenced by how good of a topic you have, how good of your title you have, and the quality of your thumbnail, and how all of those things work together. And so the reason this is important is because if you can actually bait the click, AKA click bait, but you don't keep the viewer watching, then your video is still going to fail. And so the reason this is bad advice is just because it's incomplete. Some people, and there's a lot of YouTube coaches out there that do like channel reviews, and they'll talk about titles and they'll talk about thumbnails, and they're just kind of looking on the surface of things, missing kind of the most important part, and that's the content itself. Does your video grab attention right at the beginning with a powerful hook? Does it use storytelling or compelling organization throughout to keep people watching? Are you trimming the fluff eventually once you start to edit your videos so that you can actually increase what matters most to YouTube, which is time on platform, top? Audience retention, minutes matter most. Are people actually watching the content? And I'm not invalidating click-through rate, because if they never click on it, then they can't watch through the video. So it's not either or, it's both. The sixth piece of bad advice is short videos are the future. Long content is dead. Short videos perform better because people have short attention spans. Now, while I agree that some people have short attention spans, I think that this point is misleading, overgeneralized, and grossly exaggerated. The truth is, there are a lot of people whose attention spans are going down, whose short form consumption is going up. There's also other people who really enjoy long form, rich, deeply educational video podcasts and learning videos on YouTube. The question is, who are you currently attracting with the content that you're creating right now? And who ideally would you want to reach? On the other hand, long form content might have lower views, but how much depth are you creating with that viewer? And the truth is, long form content wins for business and monetization. And this is provable. You have more revenue potential when it comes to long form content. You can have multiple ad placements. You have higher CPMs and RPMs, and overall more advertiser interest. And going further, you have a deeper connection with long form viewers. People who watch long form content form stronger relationships with the creator. These viewers are more likely to buy products, courses, coaching services, go deeper with whatever it is you offer, and even remember you. Because let me ask you a question. You were scrolling on YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels yesterday. Do you remember what you watched? Can you name 3 of the creators that you followed? You probably laughed a lot. You probably forwarded some of those accounts on Instagram and DM'd your friends. But did you follow the person? Did you go deeper with them? It happens, but not as much as it does with long form content on YouTube. And so hear me, I'm not invalidating short form content. I am just asking you to be more strategic. So instead of asking what's performing best right now, or only asking what will get me the most views, you may want to ask, what kind of audience do I want to build? Number 7. SEO is the best way to grow. This is bad advice. And this one might surprise you if you follow the Think Media podcast for any length of time, because I'm a huge fan of SEO, search engine optimization, on YouTube. However, the reason this is bad advice is search traffic only accounts for about 30% or less of views on YouTube. If you are not tapping into browse features, getting your videos suggested by the YouTube algorithm, you're leaving thousands and even millions of views on the table. I believe that the ultimate YouTube skill set to have this year is the ability to craft content that can be found in YouTube search, but also take advantage of being suggested in the YouTube algorithm. We actually have a 4-step framework for how to do that. It's called the perfect video recipe. So I'll link in the show notes a couple videos on the perfect video recipe. And if you actually want to read about it, I talk about it in the updated edition of YouTube Secrets, which for a limited time, we're actually giving away this book free. I will mail it to you if you just cover shipping. So if you go to ytsecrets.com or click the link in the show notes, you can get a copy of the new edition of my book, YouTube Secrets. We deleted a couple of chapters. We added some new chapters. There's like 90 new pages. So again, anyways, if you cover shipping, I'll get this in the mail to you right away. Just go to ytsecrets.com. Number 8, you need to go viral on YouTube to be successful. The reason this is wrong is one viral video won't build a business. Consistency and momentum matter more. And I have an interesting perspective on this because I've been uploading content on YouTube since 2007 when I was interning at a small church in Marysville, Washington in the Pacific Northwest. Our church YouTube channel grew to an incredible 42 subscribers. Can you believe it? But here's the thing. I've been on YouTube so long that I've seen people come and go. And you've probably seen the same thing. It's kind of like one-hit wonders in music. We now have one-hit wonders on social media and in the creator economy. I think there's 2 truths to consider here. 1, you could be wildly successful on YouTube and never go viral. Or 2, committing to slow and steady success, even without the expectation of going viral, but building the reps, building the consistency, building the trust, building your brand. If you do go viral, those are the ones that actually make it and take advantage of it. Those that don't just get lucky once and then fall off and disappear. It's those that have been doing the work, developing the character, developing the depth, developing the consistency, that then have that viral moment and all of a sudden, boom, their whole channel lifts, but they're able to steward it well. Kind of reminds me about this verse in the book of Proverbs that says an inheritance gained too early in the beginning will not be blessed in the end. I think for some individuals, they go viral in the beginning of their career and then they're nowhere to be found a few months or a few years later. They didn't have the character. They didn't have the infrastructure. They hadn't built the consistency muscle. So viral is overrated. It's cool if it happens in the right context. But ultimately, what can we control? We can commit to slow and steady, disciplined content creation over time. Number 9, and I've heard this one a lot. You need a huge channel to make real money on YouTube. Why this is wrong is you do not need millions of subscribers or even millions of views. You need the right audience and a smart monetization strategy. This is one of the topics we're going to be covering in depth in our upcoming YouTube challenge and sharing a lot of case studies and stories of creators that can make big money with a small channel. I'll never forget when we got an email from Jen DeVore Richter, and she emailed our team at Think Media and said, hey, I just had an $11,000 week. And at the time, she only had 546 subscribers. Now, the key was that she was running her own agency. She had her own freelance marketing services business. But I think that's the mindset to have. Like, if you just want to chase ad revenue, that's cool. You can make good money with things like affiliate marketing and make a little bit more. But the key is understanding all the different financial opportunities that there are in the creator economy and selecting a monetization path that is not just best for you, but is also you've reverse engineered it to make sure that it's actually sustainable, that you don't need a huge audience if you pick the right money strategies. And there's all these new ways to make money right now. I think in our list that we're going to be talking about, there's like 8 on-platform opportunities. That means directly from YouTube. And there's 14 off-platform opportunities, meaning you make money with YouTube, not from ad revenue, but other ways. So again, if you're interested in being a part of that challenge, I'll link it up in the show notes. But the big idea is you do not need a huge channel to make real money. Now we got to hit the 10th piece of bad YouTube advice in just a second. But I do want to ask if you've been getting value out of today's episode of the Think Media podcast, can you hit the like button and rate, review, share wherever you watch or listen to this content? Number 10, it's too late to start YouTube. The truth is, that's not true. In fact, don't let somebody that's given up on their dreams talk you out of yours. The truth is YouTube is not saturated. In fact, Goldman Sachs did an article in their research department that said the creator economy is actually going to double in the next 2 years. It's the fastest growing small business type. Is competition fierce? Absolutely. Are there new challenges with breaking through on YouTube? Of course. You got to be more strategic. You got to be more intentional. You absolutely have to learn new skills and develop your own unique strategy. But it is possible. It's massive. There's billions of people consuming content every single day, and the audience of consumers continues to grow. More people watch YouTube in US living rooms than Netflix. That's a fact. Smart TV consumption is going up. Mobile consumption is going up. And there's something like 800,000 new people joining the internet every day. You can fact check me, but it's something pretty close to that number. And so this is still a great time to start YouTube. And it's mostly individuals that can have a defeated or discouraged mindset. And I don't fault them for that. It's tough to grow a YouTube channel, but it is possible. In fact, if you haven't seen, Google, who owns YouTube, recently released a report revealing some of the best ways to grow a YouTube channel right now based on brain imaging studies that they did of viewers. So I'll put a link to that video in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can click or tap the screen to watch that episode of the Think Media podcast next. Hit the like button or share this wherever you watch or listen. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. This is the Think Media podcast, and I will catch you in the next episode.
Nationwide is more than you think.
Definitely. Their resources help me create customized retirement income plans that help clients feel more confident.
Helping them get in their comfort zone, their retirement comfort zone.
Good zone.
Like my other favorite zone, Cal Zone.
Is it possible to make money from old content on your channel? Our guest earned $44,000 from a single YouTube video last year that wasn't even new content. Can you break down what the strategy was, what you did, and explain this?
You know, kind of the common advice that a lot of people will give on YouTube is don't make your videos too long. Well, this video was almost 3 hours long. It is difficult, right, to find time for content creation in sort of these fringe hours that you have. When I started, it was really just out of passion. And that's what I always tell people is that if you're going to do YouTube, you're going to work probably for a while for free.
You reached monetization in 9 months while working full time. What were some of maybe the early challenges and also the key decisions that accelerated your growth? In today's episode of the Think Media podcast, we're also going to be covering how to earn more money from your videos, specifically the RPM, and how to earn 3 to 4 times higher than the average rates. And she's going to be breaking down exactly how, and also going through her simple content strategy that has earned over $500,000 in 4 years. And she did all of this while working full-time as a nurse without any fancy or extra fancy gear. Plus, we'll talk a little bit about the essential mindset shifts for successful creators. Sometimes, whether it's negative comments, what other people may think, all of that can sometimes hold us back, and we will break through today on the podcast. Now, our guest, Jen, is a healthcare consultant by day and a YouTube powerhouse by night, who turned her passion for helping working moms into a channel with over 138,000 subscribers. Her practical cooking and lifestyle content has generated over $500,000 in just 4 years, all while maintaining her full-time career. From viral videos earning $44,000 in ad revenue to building a thriving community of working parents, Jen proves that with the right strategy, you can build a YouTube business alongside any career. Jen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to go right up to what everybody wants to know, and that's the $44,000 video strategy. So you posted a video that wasn't new content, earned that much money from a single video. Can you break down what the strategy was, what you did, and explain this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm kind of just as surprised as you are or as anyone is. It was sort of an experiment, and it was kind of born out of me needing to get out a video and not really having a lot of time to film new content. And I had seen some other channels in my same sort of niche or space on YouTube making these compilation videos, right? So you take kind of one section of your cooking. In my case, it was budget meals. And I went back through all of my old content because I thought to myself, well, I've been doing YouTube for a long time. I have a lot of videos on my channel. And I think that a lot of times as creators, we think, well, if we posted a video 2 years ago, people have already seen that. But that's not true, right? Because you always have new people coming to your channel. And so what I was able to do is take a bunch of my old videos, kind of edit them and chop them up into one big mega compilation of budget cooking, right? Which was really big last year and the year before due to grocery prices and inflation and all of that. And, you know, kind of the common advice that a lot of people will give on YouTube is don't make your videos too long. Well, this video was almost 3 hours long. And so I had no idea how it was going to be received, and it ended up just taking off. And so, you know, really it was kind of out of necessity, but I also wanted to try something new that I hadn't tried before.
So did you change the edits at all? So to break it down, you went into your library, you looked at different videos you had done related to budget cooking. You threw them back into the timeline of a video editor? Do you edit your own videos?
I did at that time, yes.
And so what software were you using?
I use Power Director.
Okay, so you take your old YouTube videos, put them all in Power Director. Did you just leave them, or did you edit it up a little bit?
Yeah, I edited it up a little bit because a lot of those previous videos that I had done were sponsored videos. So I wanted to kind of take the sponsored portion out. And I also kind of listened through to see if there was anything that didn't really make sense. So I wouldn't say it was a huge amount of editing because obviously the content itself is already done. It's just kind of piecing it all together.
Okay, so minimal edit. Did you shoot any new content?
I think I shot an intro and an outro and the sponsored portion of the video, but that was it.
Nice. So the strategy for listeners is thinking about this idea of using compilations. We also have sometimes called these content marathons. We're launching a bunch of new ones right now because it's kind of logical, and I did the same. I shot new intros, new outros, new transitions, but there's a lot of times so much gold in our library that we can tap into. And go a little bit deeper here. This singular video earned $44,000. Like, why do you think that is? And that's such an extraordinary amount of money from a singular video. 3 hours is probably helpful because of multiple ad spots. But if you look behind the scenes, what are some of the things you're seeing?
Well, I think, first of all, it was me kind of taking advantage of a current trend, right? Or like, what is a current problem that people are looking to solve on YouTube? They're looking for cheap meals and inexpensive ideas that they can use to feed their family. And so I think that the topic itself was able to kind of launch it into the algorithm. Now, another thing I want to say is that it didn't take off right away, right? I think it took me a little over a year to reach 1 million views on that video, but it was slow and steady. And the great thing about that is that even now when I look in my YouTube analytics, even last month I earned $800 from that video, something I posted a long time ago. And so I think also, like you said, having the length of the video being longer allows YouTube to place all of those different ad spots in it. And then too, just having advertiser-friendly content that is applicable to an audience such as mine, which are primarily 25 to 65-year-old women. They're the spenders in the house. They're the ones that advertisers want to advertise to. And so my content in general is very advertiser friendly, but I think particularly for that video, the demographics and the subject and everything just kind of lined up perfectly.
That's a great transition into this next question about RPM and how much individual videos earn. You mentioned in our pre-survey that you're getting 3 to 4 times higher RPMs than average. But before we even get that deep, can you break it down simply for listeners that are like, okay, what kind of insider language are we talking about here? What does RPM mean? So what is your understanding of exactly, how would you explain RPM to somebody who's brand new to YouTube?
Yeah, so RPM is revenue per mil, I think MILLE, which is per 1,000 views. So basically it's how much advertisers are paying per 1,000 views that you receive on your YouTube channel. And there's other things that go into that in terms of watch time. But, and when you say, it's funny because Sean, when you say, oh, you're getting 3 to 4 times the average RPM, I'm like, I don't even really realize what the average RPM is. Like, I've heard of $10 being average. I don't know that my RPM has ever been that low. I looked for 2024 and my RPM for the year 2024 was $27, which I understand is a bit higher, but I think that's just due to, like I mentioned before, having advertiser-friendly content. I really don't post controversial things, which I guess in the end might hurt me a little bit because I may not be getting that kind of clickbaity stuff that others are getting. If you make content that is, I don't want to say family friendly, but you know what I mean when I say that. It's kind of universal to a large group of people. You're not saying anything offensive. You have good retention in your videos. People, tend to watch till the end. Then in my experience, I've been able to kind of achieve those higher RPMs.
Man, that's incredible. And I think this is a good thing for listeners to be considering. I looked it up in Gemini, the AI that is owned by Google and YouTube, and it's all the same company. They say that the average RPM in the US is around $2 to $5 per 1,000 views. When you said 10, I was like, no, that's not average. 10 is really high. 10 is super good. If you're at 27, that's extraordinary. And I think that's a great strategy. Yes, when family friendly might sound like it could be such sanitized content, but it just means accessible to any audience. If you layer on stuff like profanity or violence or controversial topics, it's just going to limit how much advertisers want to advertise in your videos. You nailed it though. I think also when you spoke to like an age demographic and the spenders, I think one of the best ways to think about RPM is simply that advertisers want to get in front of somebody who actually has the purchasing power and interest to spend money on their product. And so it's understandable too why RPMs are higher in the United States than maybe in a developing country that wouldn't have the same buying power, or there's not even the shipping of that product, the infrastructure to get the product to the person. And so if somebody was after luxury goods or baby boomers were after financial products for investments, that's an entirely different audience in terms of the advertiser's perspective. And so that's really incredible that you're getting that. And then so if you break that down compared to what you're also just saying, not only do you have higher RPM, but if you also then do a longer video and you marry those two things together, 3 hours long. Now, when you put ads on that compilation, do you just let YouTube do it? Do you just check the box that says let YouTube place the ads, or do you go in and actually manually place ads on something like that?
On that particular video, I just let YouTube do it, and I do double check it before I make the video live. And when I went in there and looked at the timeline of the ads that YouTube had placed, it was like bing, 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 all throughout the timeline. I saw there was a bunch of ads and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave it at that. And obviously it looks a little different because it's a 3-hour video kind of squashed into this little timeline. But yeah, I just let them do it for that particular video.
Yeah, that's a great point. And so you said 1 million views, but even on 1 million views, right? It's a little over 1 million.
Yeah, I think it's 1.1 now, or yeah.
$44,000 is an insane amount of money for most channels. Like again, a $2 RPM would be 2 million or 2,000. It would be $2,000 on a 1 million viewed video. So to make $44,000 on a 1 million viewed video speaks to also how high the RPM is, plus the length, plus the volume of ads. So man, we came out fast on this episode of the Think Media podcast, thinking about some ways. So if you're listening, think about how could you improve maybe the length of your content, maybe the target audience of your content. Doesn't even mean you need to change your niche, but who are you speaking to? Are you speaking to maybe an older audience that has credit card in hand potentially and actually has buying power? And if your content is not for them, that's also maybe why
you're earning less, and it could influence your future strategy in terms of how much you make in ad revenue, and definitely try out the compilation strategy. Well, take us through your content planning process while working full time. To this day, you're still working full time?
Yeah, and I sort of feel like a unicorn in the YouTube space because I feel like everyone is wanting to get to that point where they can quit their job, and I financially, I've been making enough on YouTube now that I probably could have quit my job years ago, but I really have no interest in doing that. My career is really fulfilling to me, and I worked really hard for my education, and I get a lot of I get a lot of fulfillment out of my job. And so it's something that's really important to me to keep. Also, I do like the structure of having a regular paycheck. I like a 401k. I like health insurance, all of those things that come with a traditional job. But yeah, it is difficult, right, to find time for content creation in sort of these fringe hours that you have, especially when you're working a full-time job. I want to say one thing that helps me is that my kids are older now. So I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. Could I have done this when they were babies and toddlers? Scaled a YouTube channel while working full time when I had a 2-year-old and a baby at home? Probably not, right? Also fair to mention is that I have a husband and we share pretty equally in the children's responsibilities. So I don't want to give the impression that I'm Superwoman and I can do things that other people can't. But it is a matter of just deciding that you're going to succeed and then planning your time around that.
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is our go-to platform here at Think Media for live streaming to Facebook and YouTube and for recording our video podcast. It has an incredibly easy-to-use interface for built-in branding, transitions, text lower thirds, and seamlessly bringing on guests. And they just added an awesome new feature called local recording. This allows you to take the quality to another level by separating out your audio and video from your guests, giving you more control over your content for later use. This feature is perfect for video and podcast creators. And so to get a special deal on StreamYard right now and to see all the features that are included, just go to streamwiththink.com. That is streamwiththink.com. Man, it's an encouraging word. What's interesting is another Video Ranking Academy student that was just on the podcast wanted to keep Becky Park on Poshmark, wanted to keep her choir job, even though YouTube actually, her job kind of became a side hustle and YouTube was kind of like the main thing. But what I love about that is while never want to YouTube takes a ton of hard work, patience. There is no guarantees. I love what you're saying. It's just possible. I think it's so possible to maintain your full-time job, love a full-time job, have some stability there, retirement there, but to also build this out on the side. Seasons of life, younger kids, maybe a little bit harder, but depending on your seasons of life, this is figure outable. And really, I just want to encourage listeners, embrace your season, a little bit at a time. And while your results are extraordinary, $500,000, I just am so passionate about this extra $5, $10, $15, $25,000 a year type of YouTube channel for a lot of people. And it's possible. And I want to go a little bit deeper because specifically then though, how do you do it? If you've got your working schedule, when do you film? Do you have daylight to film? Do you need lights? Just if you kind of break us into your routine.
Yeah. So typically so you mentioned in the beginning, I'm a nurse by background, but I don't work a traditional patient care job anymore. So I work more on the consulting side. So I do have kind of quote normal hours, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. So that does help in terms of having a block of time on the weekends to film. And so one thing I want to encourage people to do, and this is dependent on your niche, but if you can do it, your life is your content, right? So you are the content, right? And so a lot of times what I would normally be doing anyway, which is going grocery shopping or cooking dinner for my family, that's something I'd normally be doing anyway, but I'm just filming it. right? And so a lot of times I don't even have to set aside extra time. Obviously, there's times when I do kind of more involved videos and have to plan things out. But you don't have to do that, and people are looking for connection and relatability. They're looking to see the real you. They don't want a polished newscaster version of you. They want you in all your authenticity. And I think that by blocking time off, even if you do have a full-time job, it's possible, after your kids go to bed. Now, does it mean that you're never going to have downtime? Yeah, you're probably not going to have a lot of downtime. You're going to be working a lot. But for me, that was okay. And you mentioned also just having, even if someone can make an extra $2,000 a month on YouTube, right? That's really powerful. And my reason why, or kind of my motivation behind it is that I want to fully fund my kids' college education. Education is really important to me. I want to make sure that they kind of have that start in life. So being able to do that for them, and then being able to take that extra money and do things like travel, take more trips, do things like that. So that's kind of my motivation behind it. I do try to plan my content out, but I'm also a huge procrastinator. So sometimes it's like best laid plans, but I'm lucky in that I've been able to build a really incredible audience of people who, a lot of them will watch anything I post. Not all of them, right? But a lot of people I've built that relationship with over the years. And so kind of whatever I feel led to make a video about, they are interested in it.
It's really inspiring. And I love your vision